Coming up next, most of you will be taken to the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game. Kansas State trying to upend #1 Oklahoma on their way to the Nokia Sugar Bowl. But the Sooners know 12-0 means nothing. 13-0 means they got a shot for 14-0, which would be an undefeated season and a national championship. John Saunders, Craig James, and Terry Bowden with you. And again, you cannot count out Kansas State in this game because of the ability of their quarterback, El Roberson.
That's right. Everybody talks about El Roberson, the talent he has, Darren Sproles, the talent of their tailback. Score big plays, get downfield, don't depend on drives. It's all about what you can do about this great defense. But I think it's about Kansas State's defense. They're facing the #1 scoring offense in the country. You got to ask yourself, is this team going to be able to hold Oklahoma to half of its 48 points a game?
And I think big picture, Terry, is you really got to consider as a football team at Kansas State to come out of the locker room knowing you're going to face a team that is bigger, faster, and stronger than anybody you've seen the entire season. If they can hang in there for that first quarter, Kansas State has a chance. But it's that first quarter initial shock of, my goodness, these guys are big. They're fast. That's why they're maybe one of the best teams to ever play the game.
And Bob Stoops quickly now has to keep these guys from looking ahead to the next game.
Yeah, there's no look ahead in the Oklahoma Sooners. They know that they're playing a good football team in Kansas State.
That's one of the strengths of Bob Stoops. He's never lost too many big games. This is a big game.
It's the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game next.
Kansas City, here we come. Loaded with talent. Oklahoma has dominated everybody in sight. Offensively, they are led by Heisman Trophy frontrunner Jason White. This quarterback pilots the nation's #1 ranked offense. Defensively, the Sooners are relentless, combining speed and power, which has handcuffed Big 12 offenses all season long. Bob Stoops' machine has their eyes set on another national title. Tonight, Kansas State takes on this Big 12 superpower. Quarterback El Roberson and running back Darren Sproles have made it clear they do not back down. At 5'7", Little Tank Sproles provides one more challenge as Oklahoma zeroes in on the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship. From a sold-out Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City on a clear, cold night, welcome to the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship. One of the hottest teams in college football, Kansas State, takes on everybody's #1, the Oklahoma Sooners, who are unbeaten at 12-0. Welcome, everybody, with my partner, Gary Danielson. I'm Brent Musburger. Should be really interesting tonight. If the Sooners can win 2 more in a row, arguably they'll go down in history as one of the best ever. The question for Gary, because I've been asked it all week long, can Kansas State stick with the Sooners?
Absolutely they can, but they must take care of their own jobs first. I've done Oklahoma with you 10 times in the last 2 years. They're a great team, but most of the time, 8 out of the games I've done, the team beats themselves. Oklahoma doesn't beat them, they lose it before it. Kansas State must take this into the late rounds and win by a TKO.
One of the things that Gary and I observed, we had thought earlier that Kansas State would dominate the tickets. They have not. Thousands of Oklahoma fans are here, and they're going to see a great quarterback duel here tonight. Jason White of the Sooners, the leading candidate for the Heisman, and El Roberson of K-State.
Brent, let's get rid of this idea. Jason White is just not along for the ride on this deal. He's having one of the most outstanding seasons any quarterback's had. He is the trigger guy. That's the reason this offense scores a lot of points. Great football team, but a great quarterback. Other side of the field, El Roberson, he's the type of quarterback, moxie, experienced, he runs, he throws, that gives Oklahoma problems.
The temperature tonight, high 30s. Breeze at about 15 miles an hour. No snow, no rain in the forecast. The third member of our team is Jack Arute. Let's go to Jack.
Well, Brent, forgive me if there's a sense of familiarity here in Arrowhead, because there was a Big 12 championship game played back in the year 2000 with these 2 exact same teams. Very similar situations. In fact, Oklahoma was undefeated, but it was this late pass from Josh Heupel to Andre Woolfolk that gave them a 3-point win over Kansas State. Now, one thing, Brent, that happened just moments ago down here, Bob Stoops came out of the locker room, chased down Jason White. They changed the decision as far as what they want to do if they win the toss. They're going to elect to kick and defend this goal here.
right, Jack, and that, of course, be because of the breeze as we take a look at the Bowl Championship Series standings presented by Allstate. Oklahoma clearly number one. Remember now, it is the lowest point total that gets you to the championship game. But who's number two? USC, well on its way to becoming 11-1, taking care of business. LSU about to tee it up against Georgia. John Saunders will keep you up to date with that one as we get ready here. Kansas State, winners of the North Division. This is a team that lost 3 straight games, 2 of them conference games, before they turned it around and won 6 in a row under Coach Bill Snyder. They went into Lincoln, Nebraska. They won a statement game. They put it to the Cornhuskers, and now they come pouring onto the field here at Arrowhead. It's Oklahoma and Kansas State coming up on ABC.
Be a part of today's game by logging on to Enhanced TV, live now at ESPN.com.
They have been number one for 15 straight weeks. They have the nation's longest winning streak, 14 in a row. They are the Oklahoma Sooners. Let's go back down to Jack with Coach Stoops.
Coach Snyder has always given you guys a great team. How do you defend against that tonight?
We're going to go try and be a great team ourselves tonight, Jack. Let's go have at it.
Bob Stoops, who a couple of years ago won a national championship, and he is seeking a second one. Now, the coin toss was won by Oklahoma tonight, and the Sooners electing to defer, and they will choose that one end zone. So that means that K-State will handle the ball first. Now, there is a story regarding co-defensive coordinator Mike Stoops, who's about to move on to Arizona as the head coach. Jack, you were in practice at Norman with them.
Yeah, Brent, you would think it was an emotional time, but you would think maybe he'd backed off just a little bit. We caught some practice sounds, and it's far from that with Mike Stoops.
Nose in the game. All right, jump. Move around.
And we will be bringing you the sounds of the assistant coaches prior to the national championship game in New Orleans. Mike Stoops will go to Tucson tomorrow. He will not prepare the defensive game plan. It'll be up to Brent Venables, who becomes the defensive coordinator, and head coach Bob Stoops will work with the secondary. Remember, he used to be a defensive assistant under Bill Snyder, who was the head coach over at Kansas State. Bill and I talking about the great number of coaches that have moved on from the K-State program and have been successful elsewhere. It is a credit to Bill Snyder's job as a head coach. And with a brand new staff in place in Manhattan this year, they have put that 6-game winning streak in high gear behind Al Roberson and Darren Sproles. And now Snyder, who scripts out the first plays of the game, will put that script to work here after they receive the opening kickoff.
Kansas State must do everything against this defense. Throw long, throw short, throw in the middle of the field, throw to the wide side of the field. If you tilt your offense in any way, Oklahoma will crush you.
K-State already with a wrinkle we did not see in Lincoln. They put Sproles right in the middle of 3 return men. They defend the boundaries against DiCarlo, who's been so good at sealing return men up toward the sideline. With that slight breeze, he drills it deep to the end zone. Sproles takes a knee. It's coming out now on the 20-yard line. Well, let's meet the senior quarterback at Kansas State.
My name is Al Roberson, quarterback, majoring in social science.
38 career rushing touchdowns. That is a story here tonight. He is that other dimension of this game. He is a running quarterback.
He's also an experienced quarterback. Remember, he started against this Oklahoma team before. He will not be surprised by their speed.
He comes out behind a veteran line. Nick Leckie, the senior center from Grapevine, Texas, right in front of Roberson, who's out of Baytown, Texas. Sproles with the first call of the game, and nothing much doing against that defense. Gayron Allen, the middle linebacker. So it is our Dr. Pepper starting lineup for Kansas State. Now the highest grades on and off the field, and that's Ryan Lilja, academic All-American, and the coaches say he's also graded out the highest as a blocker. Leckie, though, made the coaches All-Big 12 team. James Terry overlooked. He's accounted for 42% of the receiving yards, and Darren Sproles, #1 in the nation in all-purpose yards with the first carry. Now he's coming back again. The little tank battles for no more than a couple of yards against this Sooner defense. And they are loaded with studs. Meet the All-Stars. 3 of the Big 12 defensive linemen, Harris, Dvorak, and Cody, all Sooners. Teddy Lehman's the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. And back in that secondary, well, they've got Derek Strait. He's a Thorpe and a Nagurski finalist. Now, Nicholson will play safety much of the time tonight, except in situations like this when they do use the nickel. Asher Jackson is going to play a lot. But here in this third down, it is Nicholson who moves up. Incomplete. It's 3 and out. And immediately the Sooner defense sends Roberson to the sideline.
It also sends Antonio Perkins back, one of the game breakers on this Oklahoma team. We saw him against UCLA take it back 3 times.
A very good punter, Jared Bright, out of Bakersfield, California. He's averaging 41 yards a punt. He has not had one blocked. And he will try to do his best against Perkins. He booms it high. Can the cover men get down? Perkins is going to try from the 31 to the 35 and out of bounds on the Oklahoma sideline. That's where OU will go to work for the first time with excellent field position. And let's meet the celebrated Oklahoma quarterback.
I'm Jason White, Oklahoma's quarterback, making my first start in a Big 12 championship game.
Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, one of many honors that are about to come the young man's way. He's out of Tuttle, Oklahoma, a small town of 4,294. And he brings the Sooners out 65 yards away from the end zone with their opening series.
The most underrated aspect of Jason White's game, his ability to run an offense that expands every week. Chuck Long says he does more with this quarterback than any quarterback he's been around.
Number 20, Kewan Jones, a pounder, opens up against a very good defensive line. Runnels as a blocking back for him, and Kewan is stoned. It'll be 2nd down and 10 as Brian Hickman, the linebacker from Mesquite, takes him down. Our Dr. Pepper Sooner lineup, they must protect White. They've given up 9 sacks in their last 2 games. Vince Carter making the Big 12 team, but a breakout year for Mark Clayton. Better than 1,100 yards and 15 touchdowns. And Trey DiCarlo, the field goal specialist, 19 of 20 field goals this year. Oklahoma spreads the field. 5 receivers. They drop Jason back all alone in the shotgun. They empty it out. 4 down linemen for Kansas State. They don't get there. The completion underneath for a first down as they put it in Lance Donnelly's hands. The senior from Weatherford, Oklahoma, Ted Sims, the linebacker, defending the play. The Kansas State defense, 18 sacks in their last 4 games, but the 4 of them didn't get a whole lot of penetration that time against the OU line. Josh Buell, 12.4 tackles a game. That's #1 in the nation. He made the All-Big 12 team. Rashad Washington, his 27th consecutive start. But there are questions about the defensive backfield, and they just gave up their first completion of the evening. Now they have given up their second. Clayton with all that speed tries to get to the outside. Has another first down before Rashad Washington runs him out of bounds on the K-State sideline.
Simple arithmetic there. 3 receivers, 2 defensive backs throwing the ball.
Now we welcome those of you who watched the end of the USC victory over Oregon State. This is Oklahoma's first possession. Kansas State was 3 and out. OU now at the K-State 42-yard line. Kewan Jones has the corner, and it goes for the end zone. Rashad Washington can't get it. Touchdown, Sooners. The powerhouse strikes first. It's like a heavyweight, a champion rocking its opponent early.
Watch J.D. Runnels right here. What a block he gets. Look at that seal block he gets inside. The receiver, Jawan Rankins, comes in and makes a block. That Kansas State defense got sealed by 2 great blocks.
There's no question they were attacking the right corner with a couple of plays on that series. Trey DeCarlo. McCoy does a good job with the handle on that snap. Got it down. DeCarlo adds the extra point, and it's a quick 7. So the longest run of the season for Kewan Jones. He is noted as the power runner. But this time, he gets the corner to the outside. Sooners strike first in Kansas City. The parka on. Kewan Jones from Jenks, Oklahoma, one of many outstanding college football players who've come out of Jenks. Now ball on the tee for DeCarlo again. He ripped his first one into the end zone. This one returnable, and here comes Sproles from the 1. Looking left in the cutback to the 24-yard line for L. Roberson. Now we asked Dvorak about defending Roberson.
We're going to try to counter how well he plays, how well he runs the option with how well we attack him. You know, I mean, that's the you got to hit a guy like that in the mouth. You got to keep hitting him in the mouth, and you know, you just got to hope you hit him in the mouth enough times that it all works out.
Dusty Dvorak watching the beginning of this series from the sideline, one of those hard-nosed tackles. They'll put Klein and Magruder in immediately. So they use 4 defensive tackles from the start. The depth of this Oklahoma team explores, and the pitch goes nowhere. The outside speed, Brandon Everidge, number 7 out of Granger, Texas. The senior makes the stop.
One of the most underrated aspects, if there is such a thing on this Oklahoma team, is the tackling ability of Brandon Everidge. We've seen him improve. He comes up and he doesn't miss. Great athlete, and he does not miss tackles. Oklahoma goes to the nickel when they get a stop on first, and they go to the nickel now.
So Brodney Poole, who intercepted 2 passes in Lubbock against Texas Tech, is on the field on this 2nd and long. Roberson takes off for the first time to the 30-yard line, and Teddy Lehman out of Fort Gibson, Oklahoma. Now, we've talked about the stars. Just take a look at these players who made the first 3 teams of the All-Big 12. You can see 5, Harris, Dvorak, Cody, Lehman, and Strait. They all make the first team. Poole, the second team. He's your nickelback, for goodness sakes.
And one of their best players, at least going into the year, Lance Mitchell, the middle linebacker's hurt, hasn't even played this season.
3rd down and a penalty. First flag of the game, the little self-inflicted wound, which Gary says you cannot do against Oklahoma.
Remains 3rd down.
John Bible, our big-time referee here tonight.
Well, what does Kansas State need to do in this game? First of all, they've got to put some purple on Jason White. They must get to him. You saw her already. He's had time to throw. L must excel. L. Roberson has to have one of those games, and we've seen it like he did it against Nebraska, and they have to take it into the late rounds. Win this thing by a TKO. You're not going to knock out Oklahoma.
Strait draws Terry. That's the matchup. Terry's the wide out on the right. Now they release him, and Strait tries to blitz on it. And they take Roberson down as Derek Strait came off the corner that time on the call. My goodness, what speed he had. He was matched up against Terry, came off the left corner for Oklahoma that time.
Change up, a little bit of a change up by Mike Stoops. The zone blitz with the corner coming this time. Watch a zone blitz from the corner. That's a change up.
Second punt of the game. Perkins has got a returnable one. Trying to get to the left. In the middle. Down at midfield. And Bright, the punter, makes a fine tackle on that play. Jared Bright, a senior from Bakersfield, California. He looked like a defensive player on that, didn't he? Timeout. And you can eat very well down there in the plaza here in Kansas City. Busy time of the year.
We tried it, didn't we?
It was terrific last night.
Yes, it was.
Now, the Oklahoma Sooners, Gary, they have struck on their first possession 11 out of 13 times this year.
And on the other two games, they scored on their second possession.
And Ronaldo Works is now in as the running back after Kewan Jones scores the game's first touchdown. Jason still not being touched. Going to go for the home run. Rankin goes down, and the feet just got tangled up as Cedric Williams is there with Rankins.
Incidental contact, both the defender and the receiver looking at the football. But Jason White, one of the best deep throwers we've seen in college football in a long time because he gets rid of it on time. Steps into the throw, a little action on like he's throwing a javelin. Little bump there. They're not going to call that.
Absolutely. We have asked the officials several times.
Yep.
In fact, before this game, we discussed with Bible's crew pass interference, and they are not going to give you that call. Now on second down and 10, they set the screen. Drop it off to Ronaldo Works, who's a terrific receiver out of the backfield. He gets about 9 yards before Hickman, and that linebacker out of Mesquite is everywhere for K-State.
Well, that defensive front four is the attack point for Oklahoma. Chuck Long, the coordinator, knows most of their sacks come up front. 38 of their sacks have been from the front four for Kansas State. That's why you're seeing the quick passes and the screens early in this football game to set the tone that you cannot tee off on Jason White.
3 wide receivers to the left on third and short. Works the running back right to the left. He'll run, and he's stung. Didn't get the first down. Josh Buell in there along with Washington on the hit for the Wildcats.
An absolute must for this Wildcat defense. Stop and win third down. You're going to see it pull the guard here, a power play. In the last 2 games, this Kansas State defense against has been 9 for 30. Doing a great job of stopping third down.
Blake Ferguson, he'll try to hang this one up. Try to get it down inside the 20. A beautiful punt. Out of bounds, far sideline, inside the 20-yard line. So the punter from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, gets the high fives as he comes to the sideline. We're at the home of the Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. The Chiefs have a road game. They're in Denver. I'm sure that many of them are watching that game as they get ready for a big, big contest against the Broncos. Here, Oklahoma, with an early touchdown and a 7-point lead, but good defense on that second series by K-State. But now the Wildcats need some offense. They have only 8 yards in 2 series. They do not have a single passing yard. They have very bad field position here to start this series. Sproles again to the right, and little daylight that time as he made his way out to the 10-yard line, picking up about 4 yards.
That's absolutely a must for Kansas State. Stay in the football game. Do not give up your running game. If Kansas State can run some play-action passes that mean something in the second half, that'll make it awful nice for Bill Snyder to call some plays.
Behind Sproles, number 43. He's all of 5'7", 170 pounds. Leads the nation in all-purpose yardage. A little bit of a draw. Sproles not getting much daylight, did make it to the 12, and Allen brings him down. That's short of the first down. Well, we've got so many things to settle as far as the BCS is concerned, and so John, Terry, and Craig will sort it all out. 5:30 Eastern Time, the Tostitos BCS Selection Show. So if you're watching the Chiefs or any of those other NFL games, come on over at 5:30 and check out who's going to New Orleans, who's going to Miami, who's going to Tempe, who's going to Pasadena. They'll have all the answers. Here it is, 3rd down and 4. Roberson still looking for his first completion. They keep it on the ground again, and they will not run for the first down. There's too much speed on this OU defense. They've got to get it in the air. Derek Strait, their All-American corner from Austin, Texas, makes the play again.
I don't think Bill Snyder trusts L. Roberson early in this game to throw and turn it over against that nickel package. He wants to try to keep the game close. 12 men in the huddle, I think, for Kansas State. Illegal substitution. Substitution violation on the offense. Breaking the huddle. That's 2 wounds, self-inflicted. Can't do that against this great team.
And even if Perkins just fair catches, you've picked up 5 yards in field position right now. He's standing on the other side of the 50-yard line. You cannot do that against this Sooner football team and stay in it. Jared Bright is standing right back by the end line. Remember, he had to come down and make the tackle the last time. A great punt, a beautiful punt. Perkins on his bicycle, all the way back at the 30. What a punt by Jared Bright. Oh, my, he saves the day. He bails the Wildcats out. Good job by Bright. Well, here comes Jason White, and let's meet the Oklahoma quarterback.
I'm Jason White, Oklahoma's quarterback. My favorite professional sports team is the Houston Astros. My favorite movie is Scarface. My favorite historical figure is Winston Churchill. Never has a man done so much.
This is such an interesting young man who's had major knee surgeries on both legs, missed 2 seasons, has come back this year, has 40 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. He'll be going to the Heisman Trophy Award ceremony in New York next week. His parents are Ron and Sue, and just down-home family. Their biggest question is, can they wear their jeans in the hotel when they get to New York, folks? We've got an injured K-State player down on the field. And Gary, we both go way back with the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma.
We sure do. Chuck Long has done a brilliant job here. Started coaching at Iowa. Hayden Fry put him in the secondary to learn how to coach secondary first. Worked his way up. Now is calling plays. He was runner-up for the Heisman, remember? And now he's got a quarterback that should win the Heisman Trophy. And Bill Snyder says, you know who Jason White reminds me of? He reminds me of Chuck Long. Same size, the curly hair and everything.
And Chuck Long was looking at the field at an injured Cedric Williams, who's a corner going off to the sideline. Long's a big-time coach. They'll be looking for that replacement. Lewis Lavender, though, is a pretty talented corner. Kewan Jones on doesn't get much. Now the quarterbacks who have won the Heisman, let's show you the last 5. A year ago, of course, Carson Palmer, USC, then Crouch, Winky, Wilf Award. Take a look at the touchdown-interception ratio. These are the last 5 quarterbacks now to win the Heisman. Now, folks, take a look at Jason White at 12-0 and 40-6. Does he just consider? That's why he's the favorite. That's why the straw polls have him number 1. He is such a fine young man, so deserving of any award that comes his way. 2nd down and 10 now, back in that gun. Fires. Got it into Wilson's hands. Short of the first down. That's Travis Wilson from Carlton, Texas. Washington making the stop.
Oklahoma has had their way. Only been pushed a couple times. The reason? They let Jason do what he does best, throw the ball. They don't need to gamble a lot. They got the better team. Don't take chances and make L. Roberson throw the ball. They got to shut down that running game like they have and make it a passing game. They'll feel better about it.
Slowly but surely, the Kansas State defense is starting to come on. But this is big. 3rd down and 4. Clayton goes down, and he's across midfield with the catch and a first down. They move the chains.
Boy, that's a great read by Jason White, because Kansas State and Brett Bielema dropped 8 in zone that time.
Jack, what do you hear about Williams down below?
Well, Brett, believe it or not, a couple of series before that, Williams came off the field and he was sick to his stomach. From my observations, remember, K-State will not release any information about injuries, but I think the guy's suffering from a cold or the flu.
He's out from Riviera Beach, Florida. Jones pursed right straight ahead, put his helmet back on, indications that he will be back on the field soon. And he's to the 41-yard line. And here he comes back onto the field now. So Cedric Williams back in at corner.
Lavender has played a little bit. Randy Jordan, the other cornerback, was injured last week. Missed the game against Missouri, and Lavender played, but they like Williams in there.
Now the go-to guy is Mark Clayton. He's one of the 3 wideouts over to the left. Run Jones and Buell standing in there. Josh Buell, also from Mesquite, Texas. You talk about a couple of tough Texans as linebackers. Hickman and Buell were teammates down there. Well, Lamar on Alias. She was lost for 2 years. Now Agent Sydney Bristow will risk it all to expose the secrets of her disappearance. You won't believe what happens next on an all-new Alias ABC tomorrow. Here comes another one of those telling third downs as far as Kansas State is concerned. And Ronaldo works. A fine receiver is slotted out to the right. The backfield is again empty. The offensive line so far doing its job. Nobody touches Jason, fires low, well defended in that zone, however, as Hickman, the linebacker, drops back and knocks it down.
Talked to both Brett Bielema and Bobby Elliott, the 2 co-coordinators for Kansas State. They said they do not like to go substituted defense because their linebackers run so well. Look at Hickman, how well he runs on that one. They'd like to stay with their quick linebackers.
There's Bielema over on the far side, another of those talented coaches that come under Snyder's tutelage. He can really coach coaches. And this one is fair caught at the 7-yard line by Darren Sproles, the all-purpose leader. Well, Gary, let's take a look at the Dodge defensive playbook, and it's a beauty.
It is. Boy, you need more than great players. You need good design. And watch what Stoops has come up here. The zone blitz with the corner coming as the 5th rusher this time. Kansas State has never seen this. They come in. He's the one with the secondary coverage zone who comes in and stops the quarterback draw. What a nice changeup.
Sooners continue to rotate defensive tackles. Magruder's back on the field. And Sproles pounding straight ahead just short of the 10-yard line. Lehman, that ultra-quick linebacker, comes up and makes still another stop as we check in down below with Jack.
Well, Brent, I asked Brent Venables and Mike Stoops who they would compare the offense of K-State to. Without hesitation, they said, oh, Missouri, but then they added a caveat to it. They said the difference between Missouri and K-State, Darren Sproles. So far, they're doing a pretty good job with Little Tank.
Yes, they have, Jack. 7 carries, only 8 yards for Sproles, only 15 yards of offense. Roberson looking for his first completion and still doesn't have it. It's 3rd down and long. And I go back to something that UCLA said following the USC game. This is UCLA now. Remember, they came down to Norman and they were beaten by Oklahoma. They said, we're not going to try to put USC down. They played a very good game. I think it was one of the Ball twins who said this. They were good. But on the field against Oklahoma, it was a different league. We were playing a team that had so much speed from sideline to sideline, we just could not stick up with it.
Called them a mini NFL team, didn't they?
Yes, he did. 3rd down now. And the K-State offense struggling to find a rhythm here. Under pressure, the screen's a great call. Here's Sproul, and Sproul breaks free. First down to the 36-yard line. Antonio Perkins makes the tackle, but against that blazing, aggressive defense, that's the right call.
Well, it's also a safe call, and I think Bill Snyder believes what I believe. Let's not lose the game. There's the screen man right there. Oklahoma likes to play zone. Let's not make it tough on our quarterback early. El Roberson has a lot of adrenaline early in football games. Bill Snyder wants El to settle down, run the ball, and make a game of it.
Their first down of this game. Now Roberson, who's dangerous and can take off. makes his way to the 41-yard line, and now this is their game. Complete a pass, have the quarterback run. Use Sproles straight ahead for a couple of yards. That's the kind of offense you've got. And against Roberson, he can do so many things at that quarterback position.
Yeah, see, 7 rushing attempts for Darren Sproles. I know it's only 8 yards, but they must keep doing that if they want to throw the ball deep and get the ball to Jason Terry on the play-action passes.
Quick drop into behind pool that time.
Too much
Antoine
adrenaline.
Polite, I should say, was the intended receiver over there. And a reminder, of course, coming up on the Capital One halftime show, John Terry and Craig, they'll show you how Syracuse beat up on Notre Dame today. They'll also tell you what's going on with LSU, Georgia, and how USC came away with still another win. And they'll look ahead to tomorrow and they'll perhaps speculate on who's going to be playing the BCS Bulls where.
One of the interesting players for this Oklahoma defense is Dante Nicholson, number 8. He plays the linebacker position right there. He's the second leading tackler as a nickelback.
Now K-State, can they convert a third down? Pass, so we're going to the tight end at that time, Brian Casey. Incomplete, and there was pressure from Lehman.
Absolutely. Boy, they go zone, 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 and all of a sudden a first down play by Kansas State, and Stoops and Venables brings the blitz with Teddy Lehman, one of the quickest linebackers you've ever seen in college football.
Right to Perkins has become a big duel here tonight, hasn't it? And slowly, Kansas State has got Perkins to back up. Remember, he was on the other side of the 50.
Oh, bad snap.
Bad snap.
Yep, and hit the up back. It hit Travis Wilson. I don't think it was a fake call. If it was a miscommunication. Wilson never thought he was going to get it. You can see the snap and hit Wilson. That was not a fake. That was just a regular call. Hits Wilson, and it's almost like a turnover. The third big, huge mistake for Kansas State.
Coaches are beside themselves. Russ Vanover, the snapper, they can't believe what happened over there. The coach is talking to Vanover right now. You can only imagine what's going through Snyder's mind in this situation. They were starting to play very well. Now Oklahoma, 36 yards away. Can they take advantage here? Look for him to perhaps try to strike right away. I've seen Stoops go for it after a turnover. Flanker screen to Clayton with that speed. And he makes his way inside the 25-yard line for a first down. Now there is a young man who has come out of nowhere from Arlington, Texas with 15 touchdowns. He's only a junior, number 9, Mark Clayton.
Best receiver in the country after he catches the ball. He might be the best receiver in the country before he catches the ball, but I know for sure he's the best receiver in the country after he catches it. There's a lot of arguments about the first part of that.
Right. Three wide now. Ronaldo works into the backfield along with Runnels. White's getting time, not being touched. End zone too high. Had Clayton for a moment. Well, LSU and Georgia. Let's check in with John and see what's going on.
Well, Brent, here in the Taco Bell update, LSU feels they have a right to be in New Orleans as well. And Justin Vincent takes the handoff. You want to see some speed out of the tackle and then just takes off 87 yards. Longest touchdown run in SEC championship history. A little help from the official on the way. They missed the point after. LSU leads 6-0.
All right, John, and here Oklahoma leads 7-0 over Kansas State. Second and 10 for White. Beautifully by Josh Buell, number 7.
Let's go back to that last play when Jason White overthrew deep. Jermaine Berry, number 91, hit Jason White just as he let this ball go. And Jason, he kind of just fell on the back of his right knee right there. He got up, limping, shaking it off.
This game is being played in the Kansas State half of the football field. And White slowly back up. Now faces a 3rd and 12. Peoples brought the play in from the sideline. Jason wants to set the screen. Ronaldo. K-State will not let him out. It was Andrew Shell from Webb City, Missouri, the defensive end, circling back to make the play.
Absolute great speed. This defense for Kansas State works together. They're for real. They're keeping this football team in the game right now.
We'll be back with the second quarter after this message of word from our ABC station. Trey DiCarlo on for a field goal. He's hit 19 of 20 this year, 14 in a row. This is a 44-yarder. Got the distance, no good. His last miss, and the only miss of the season, was a 31-yard attempt in game number 2 down in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. So the Dr. Pepper first quarter stats, with OU scoring the first time they had the football, but not much since then. You know, Gary, the one thing that surprises me is that Oklahoma has had one chance after another to score a second time. They haven't been able to do it against this K-State
Absolutely.
defense.
Oklahoma's winning 7-0, but I think Kansas State feels great about the way they've hung in this game. Both defenses have done well on third down.
And here comes Sproles breaking the daylight. Midfield, foot race. Perkins got the angle. Out of bounds, inside the 20-yard line. The little tank. He holds the K-State records for career rushing, single season rushing, and single game. And he just put up 55 yards on this Sooner D.
Little tank with a lot of speed. That's a nice combination. Little pitch play, runs right through a tackle. One of the few tackles you'll see an Oklahoma team miss, and I think it's because his size is an advantage. It's very hard to get down low and tackle this guy.
Golden opportunity for the Wildcats. They're inside the 20-yard line. Roberson shows option. 80% of the time he keeps it when he shows option, and Dan Cody made the play on the short side as we check in with New York and John Saunders.
Brent, we told you LSU missed the extra point. Well, here's how you make up for it. Gordon Ely-Kelso fumbles the snap, tackled in the end zone, safety, and now an 8-0 lead for LSU over Georgia in the SEC Championship.
Good as the two-point conversion.
They went for 2. Too early to go for 2.
Second down and long. Roberson now comes to the wide side, throws on the run, almost intercepted.
Oh, bad route by Terry that time. Rounded it in there.
Perkins makes the play defensively.
James Terry ran a sloppy slant route that time. Look at L. Roberson getting on Terry. Come across that receiver. Don't let that defensive back beat you to the ball. Just a sloppy old route. Look at inside technique by Perkins. Easy, easy. Look at that. He slows down. That could cost you a big interception.
Third down and 11. Roberson throws his own touchdown. K-State. Ryan Casey, the 6'7" junior tight end from Gladstone, Missouri, puts the Wildcats on the board.
I'm telling you, this L. Roberson has no reverse gear. Casey's right here is going to sneak down the middle, little half roll to swing that defense to the outside, and Casey comes right in to the middle of that dead area. Street safety just bites one little bit on the play pool, and look at that. That is a well-designed play by Bill Snyder. This guy knows what he's doing.
Let's see if Russ Vanover delivers this snap to Dylan Meyer. Joe Ream ties it. So Casey, the tall tight end, built like a power forward, gets into the end zone. And L. Roberson finds a way, just like he has for the last month and a half.
Brent told you about Ryan Lilja, the guard, the smart guard for Kansas State. Watch what he does right here when he picks up this blitz. 2 guys there. He knows knows he's got Sproles outside. He picks up the inside guy, does a great job.
Rankin from the 1 for Oklahoma. Spins as Josh Buell is in on top of him. So the starting linebacker, their leading tackler, comes down the field on the kickoff team and blows up the return by Rankins.
Yeah, there's no such thing as backups in this football game. Everybody's got to be frontline men.
Now the K-State defense, which has done such a good job here in the first half, they've given up 105 yards. On that last drive, Kansas State actually moved ahead of them offensively with 114 yards on the day. Jones, the running back. 4 receivers in this formation for Jason White. Peoples at the 30-yard line, about 3 yards short of the first down. Randy Jordan from California makes the play.
See, I think that's not bad, though, for Kansas State. I know Oklahoma's doing what they want to do, but Kansas State must see if Oklahoma is patient enough to throw those short routes all the way down the field. Keep it in front of you. Oklahoma is used to scoring quickly. Will they have the patience to play in a tight football game?
Of course, is the big issue. When you test this Sooner team deep into the second half, they've been involved in routes all season long. Jones is swallowed up by this defensive front. Well, we have talked about Jason White and, of course, going to the Heisman Trophy ceremony, one of the finalists. And now it's time for our Aflac trivia question. 3 previous Sooners have won Heisman trophies. Who are they, and what year did they win it? All right, the 3 previous winners, okay? See if you can think about that for a moment. It's third down at 1 here for Jason White, who's the leading candidate right now. The ceremony next Saturday in New York City. Third down and 1. White checking with Runnels, who's the fullback. He would be the lead blocker if they elect just to run the power I, which they do here. With Jones, and he has jumped. The Wildcats, they were ready for this play. Jones reaching toward the first down line.
Absolute must. Kansas State front 4 must stand up to the 5 offensive linemen for Oklahoma. Justin Montgomery and Andrew Scholl just defeat that Oklahoma offensive line and make it happen on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Can't beat Oklahoma if your front 4 doesn't play well defensively.
Blake Ferguson into punt. They didn't get the first, and Sproles is back to return for K-State. They came at him up the middle, and Blake got it off. But they force a mediocre punt, and it is down at the 37-yard line. The folks in purple are out cheering. They're in the game against the powerhouse. That's all they can ask for.
Troll.
And remember, for Kansas State, in their first 2 series, they had only 8 yards. So 106 since then, 55 on 1 run by Sproles, who's lined up as the tailback. L. Roberson on a play fake with a deep drop on first down. Takes it down the left sideline, wants Terry. Terry's got it. Headed for the end zone. K-State leads it. James Terry from Homestead, Florida, on a 63-yard home run from L. Roberson. The Oklahoma fans are stunned.
Jason Terry ran the same hitch and go. Watch the hitch and go. Hitch and go against Antonio Perkins. Now watch him react to the ball. It's underthrown, comes back and catches it, and then beats the tackle into the end zone. Jason Terry is coming up big after he was just read the riot act by L. Roberson.
Alreem, and the lead is 7. We have seen that move before, just a couple of weeks ago, up the road in Lincoln, Nebraska. It was the hitch and go, and Gary, it was Terry against the Cornhuskers. Same move.
Absolutely. You get one-on-one coverage. That one was a little easier catch and run, but this offense is so well coordinated, you better tackle well to stop them.
K-State leads. receiver. There's a Williams who's a standout everywhere. But this young man is as good as anybody right now. Now, folks, 748 total minutes for Oklahoma this season. They've trailed for 6 and counting now as they're behind 14-7.
Uncharted territory.
Marines. Here's Rankins again from the 5-yard line. To the 26-yard line.
Nice change up looking because of the running game. There's the strong safety lined up on there. One-on-one coverage to the outside. You get that safety up because of the running game. You run, you run, you run. Now you got the play action pass with the hitch and go. Oklahoma sniffs. They want turnovers, and that nosy defensive back gets beat for a deep.
So the 2-touchdown underdog moves ahead for the first time in the Big 12 championship here in Kansas City. And the folks have put down their Dr. Peppers, and they're ready to see if this Sooner offense can move. They have been stalled on 3rd down so far by the Wildcat defense. Wilson with a nice grab right at the 1st down marker. Travis Wilson from Carlton, Texas. And hold on, there's an argument down there on that sideline. He's waving it off. I thought he had it. The Stoops brothers are right there.
It's a gutsy call right in front of that Stoops bench. Absolutely. Throwing to the outside, Travis Wilson catches it, takes a step. We can't see the ball. That's a catch, isn't it?
Looks like he actually
It came
made an
out
act.
late.
It came out as he was going out of bounds, didn't it?
Absolutely.
At least it looked that way. That's what Bob is trying to argue.
The field judge was screened on the play just like we were in the replay, and he thought it was bobbled and came out.
So Drew George down there is getting an earful from Bob Stoops. 2nd down and 10 for the Sooners. Set the screen. Here's Jones. Washington in on that stop, and this will be 3rd and about 3 coming up.
Got another angle of it. Ball is caught, 1 foot down. Oh, that's a catch. That's a good catch. That's a bad call. Oh, that's one. One that has not gone Oklahoma's way.
Bobby's having a hard time letting it go. It's 3rd down and 3. Best to shake it off, get the 1st down, and go on about your business. Only 1 of 5 on 3rd down conversions.
Kansas State is the best of the Big 12 at stopping 3rd down. 26% on the year.
White sends Clayton in motion. Clear off to the left side. They throw back short side, taken away from Rankins. Great play over there by Williams. The corner from Riviera Beach, Florida. And we want to get another SEC update, so here's John.
Brandon, it's like LSU knows they have to make a statement. Matt Mark looking for Michael Clayton. Plenty of protection. 43 yards as he backs into the end zone for the touchdown. The point after this time is blocked, but because of the safety, LSU with a 14-0 lead.
And all around the country, John, computers are starting to warm up, getting ready to roll through the night. 4th down now. Ferguson back in punt formation. Sproles again, the return man. Fair catch is signaled. I think he was trying to draw a penalty, folks. If I had to guess, Bradley was the cover man down there, number 1. Sproles trying to kind of just run up into him, and Bradley says, what's going on here? Timeout. The skyline of Kansas City, a city that has done such a great job of hosting this Big 12 championship game. What a wonderful setting Arrowhead Stadium is. It is in the NFL. This stadium is the most like a college environment. Very intimate. Fans are down close, and so far they are getting their money's worth here tonight at Arrowhead. On 1st down, Roberson wants to set a screen again. There's no receiver over there.
Dvorak got him, Brett. Dvorak grabs Sproles. Nice read on the screenplay by Dusty Dvorak.
Outstanding by one of the all Big 12 defensive linemen, Gary.
Yeah, you know, you got to be big. He's big. You got to be fast. You got to be tough. And then you got to be smart. And if you got to read your keys, and he knew not to let Darren Sproles set up inside and get out of the pocket. That had to be something that was part of the game plan.
He's a big-time defensive lineman. Brian Casey and Thomas Hill, too tight in now on 2nd down and 10. Sproles eaten up. And Wayman makes the stop. And, you know, we asked Dvorak about the mentality of being a defensive lineman.
To get hit in the head every snap. I mean, playing D-line, you're going to get hit every single play. And you got to be tough, you got to be a good athlete, you got to love the game.
One of my favorite football faces of the year, and one of the better answers. You get hit in the head every play, and you got to just keep coming.
This will be very conservative by Kansas State. Quarterback draw, screen pass, draw play, no chances.
K-State needs 13. What a tackle as Nicholson comes up on the tight end that time, Dante Nicholson. The JC transfer for the Sooners. Watch him deliver the blow.
This is the guy that gets it. They just drop in Oklahoma for zone. Here's the accident happening right across there. Tight end coming across. Very conservative. Throw the ball, dump it up. That's how you stop it in zone defense.
It's a wonder that Casey held on to the football after that hit. Jared Bright, low snap, picks it up. So long snapper trouble for K-State. No fair catch on the signal. Perkins undercut now. And there's a penalty flag thrown on the play.
Yeah, that was a push in the back early on that play. That's how Perkins was able to evade the first gunner coming down the field.
Illegal block in the back on the return team.
Right side of the screen. I think it's right here. The guy. Oh, excuse me. Oh, right there. There it is. Right there. There's a push in the back. Right there. Getting little directions from every different direction, and I just got to find it. That's all. Get one of these telesters. You want to use it, you know. There's Kevin Wilson, the run coordinator, down on the sideline. Chuck Mullins up in the box. Excuse me.
Kevin, of course, one of the former assistants at Northwestern, came down here to help with the run game. And speaking of that run game, Oklahoma has rushed for only 49 yards here and passed for 72. They have only 121 yards of offense as they're compared to the 180 for K-State in the first half. Game with Brian Hickman making another stop. All right, we asked you the Aflac trivia question. Who are Oklahoma's 3 previous Heisman Trophy winners and the years? Let's go back to 1952. In New York, the great Billy Vessels. Then in '69, Steve Owens. In 1978, the legendary Billy, who once was a teammate of Gary Danielson's with the Detroit Lions. And that is the last time, 1978, that an Oklahoma player has won the Heisman, and now Jason White will be the favorite going to New York this weekend.
Excuse me, I've never seen Oklahoma this discombobulated early in a football game.
We've got a timeout, OU.
In Tuttle, Oklahoma, Jason White is a well-known figure, but when did the Tuttle folks know that he was it? Well, you've got to go back to a game where he was, well, they tried to tackle him once, twice, 3 times, and he's still connected. And for Jason White and for the folks in Tuttle, they say that was the game, Brent, in his hometown when he beat Newcastle High and escaping those 3 defenders when they knew he was the real deal.
And here tonight, Gary, he's got his hands full against this Kansas State defense. They are doing an outstanding job against number 18.
Well, everyone who plays against Kansas State marvels at the coordination that Brett Bielema right there, the old Iowa football player, a lot of Iowa little remnants in these two football teams, and Bobby Elliott have coordinated. They say this defense, it's not like the attack defense of Kansas State a couple years ago. They play sound zones and they rush the passer.
White again back on the shotgun with Works alongside. How field position has changed in this second quarter. They put it into Brandon Jones' hands for the first time, and he brings it out for a first down with Josh Buell dropping back to make still another stop. So our two coaches, and there's a connection. Bill Snyder, now 64, was the offensive coordinator at Iowa. Bob Stoops, the defensive back. Then he became a graduate assistant there. Bobby then became an assistant under Snyder in Manhattan, Kansas, before moving to Florida under Steve Spurrier. Then he came back to Oklahoma. But what's important here for Stoops is he has gone the distance. He has won the national championship. So far, even the Big 12 title has eluded Bill Snyder, who has done one of the masterful turnaround jobs in the history of college football. But how he so badly wants this one here tonight. White fires to Wilson. There's a first down out of bounds on that far sideline. Run out at about the 34-yard line.
One of the things that I talked to Chuck long before on the field, Brent, is that one of the things he loves about this football team, and especially Jason White, is he feels he can put things into the game that they haven't even practiced. He has so much confidence in this guy that he sees something developing, and he has to go to it. He feels confident that this offense can run it. Something like a play right there.
Show blitz, picked up by Chasen, but that helped blow the play up, and Works could get no places. Josh Buell cleaned up. So the linebackers, Hickman and Buell, are attacking the line of scrimmage, and they are both from Mesquite, Texas. Now the Pacific Life game summary on the first series of the game. Jones bolted to the end zone for Oklahoma. It was 7-0. But then Roberson came back, hit Casey with touchdown number 1, and went the distance. And they lead on Terry's 63-yard catch and run. 14-7 Wildcats. 6:59 to go here in the first half. White from the pocket goes for the home run. Peoples deep against Williams, and Williams came over the top, and he incurred the penalty. The flag is thrown by the field judge, and that's a story. Remember, he did not give OU a catch on the sideline, and this time the interference is called.
Pass interference on the defense. 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Watch his left arm as he goes up. He grabs the head. It's a great call. Cedric Williams was in position to knock it down with his right hand, but these defensive backs, it's a bad habit. We saw it against Texas when we did that game. They go up with one hand, and they don't have the confidence, and they grab them with their other hand. It's a habit that's very difficult to break.
The 15-yard penalty in the college game moves it just shy of midfield, where it's an automatic first down for the Sooners. Line of scrimmage cut clean. White goes again deep. Complete inside the 15-yard line. The go-to guy, number 9, Clayton, comes up with a 38-yard gain.
Nobody throws the fade better than Jason White. This guy has done it even before he had the knee surgeries. Watch him put this ball right on the outside, right in the bucket. Randy Jordan's in coverage, actually grabs Clayton's arm just before he catches it, but you can't do it any better than that. Ball's thrown over the outside shoulder. Clayton gave the quarterback 5 or 6 yards of room to throw it in, and that is taught, ladies and gentlemen. That just doesn't happen. That's practiced every day.
Clayton stays on the field. 4 receivers. He's swatted to the left. They like to run Jones. Short of the 10-yard line, Ted Sims, the linebacker from Newton. Kansas makes the stop, and we go down to Jack.
Well, Gary, you're talking about it being right in the bucket. Well, one of the ways that Oklahoma teaches their quarterbacks to put it in the bucket is a bucket drill. What they do every Wednesday is they erect a very high fence. They have all of their quarterbacks throw over that fence to create the touch-type pass, and they throw it into a bucket.
Little trash can. I've seen that drill. I've seen them do it. And the first thing they do before every game is work on the fade pass, even in warm-ups tonight.
Works, an outstanding receiver, brings the play in for White. Then picks up the blitzer. White goes in zone too high for Jones. He just couldn't hang on, but there is a penalty flag as White goes down.
Roughing the passer, I believe. Get Jason White after the ball was thrown. One of the few misses Jason White will have on a wide-open receiver.
Roughing the passer on the defense. Half the distance to the goal.
Jason White has an opportunity to step into this throw, and he misses it. Coming from, oh, that's an obvious one. Big, obvious one by Shull that time. That's the type of play you can't do against these guys.
I think the John Bible is going to have to stop the game. The clock was running before he restarted.
Still running, yeah.
It ran all the way down. In fact, it's still running. Now he's conferring with a couple of the officials. So while we wait on that, let me remind you about Monday night. And folks, one of the hottest teams in football, the St. Louis Rams, go into Cleveland to play the Browns. Is there a lot of trouble in Cleveland? Will they be able to stage a big performance on Monday night? It's at 9 Eastern. But Mike Martz says that right now, the Rams are the healthiest they've been all year long. And if so, they could become a contender for the Super Bowl. John's checking upstairs just to get this clock straightened out. And back on that Rams story, when you think about that Ram team that won the Super Bowl under Dick Vermeil, such great speed on the outside, Gary, and you said those weapons, those two wide receivers, Holt and Bruce, can take it in a hurry.
In the National Football League, and you know it's becoming that way in college football, these athletes get better. You run the ball to get yards, but you score with wide receivers. And that's why this Oklahoma team is so good and why Kansas State has improved. As Terry has improved, Kansas State has improved. You run the ball to protect them, but you score with the wideouts. They're like wild cards out there.
Josh Buell, number 7, averaging more tackles a game than any player in college football. And so far tonight, Gary, he has really come up big.
The new breed of linebacker. You see it in the NFL, and you see it in college football. They're glorified, strong safeties that can run. That's the biggest difference from when I played football and now. When I used to play, linebackers were guys you could maneuver, big guys. Now, they're as fast as safeties.
I see 6:44 on the scoreboard to my left as John still confers upstairs, and we'll see if that's the correct time. Well, coming up at halftime is the Dr. Pepper Big 12 throw for Doe. And David Latham from Midland, Texas. There he is. Now he's going to attempt to throw 11 footballs into a giant 8-foot-tall Dr. Pepper can for up to $1 million. He doesn't look too tense down there, does he?
Get that jacket off. Loosen up the arm. What are you doing?
I told him to leave it on and stay warm. That's what he's doing.
All right,
it's 38 degrees.
You see that clock running down?
What's he doing? He played in Detroit too long in Cleveland. First down and goal. 6:44 apparently our accurate time right now. White, plenty of time, takes off. He will not get to the end zone. Down at the 5-yard line. Ted Sims and Josh Buell are there defensively.
Well, we saw Jason break into the Oklahoma's quarterbacking job, and he was a guy, as Jack showed you, in high school could scramble all over, but these two injuries, both of them untouched, blew the one ACL one year, and then against the opening game against Alabama the next year, he blows the right ACL. He's had to come back. He's a different quarterback, not a scrambler. He's a passer.
Gary told you he throws the fade as well as anybody in college football. It's second down and goal. They spread the field. He looks to go left. Got a wide open Peoples and misfired, and we have seen White miss 2 open receivers in the end zone. That's not like him.
I don't know if Teddy Sims touched that ball or not. Really well-designed play. The inside slot guy stopped at the line and watch Teddy Sims. He reads Jason's eyes, and does he get his left hand on this? Well thrown? Absolutely.
Yes, he did.
Absolutely. That is a big-time play right there.
Absolutely. It would have been a touchdown pass except for that play by number 45, Sims. outstanding.
Boy, this defense won't crack, will they?
They won't. 3rd and goal. White forced out of the pocket on the run. Fires, and it's picked off in the end zone. Intercepted by James McGill, and it's coming out on the 20-yard line.
We've all done it. Every quarterback that's ever played has tried to make one of these plays on 3rd down.
Jerry, he's hurt.
Oh, boy. Not only does he throw an interception, he comes off with a wobbly right arm or right shoulder. Zone, watch this. Zone, this is what's new in college football now. Teams play zone defenses. All these crossing routes by Oklahoma, who cares? Let them cross. And now you try to throw the ball against the grain, and there's the interception. Let's see what happens. Gets hit inside. Houchin, right there, number 94, puts a shot right on the funny bone of his right arm.
Al Roberson hit on 1st down. Cody sacks him at the 11-yard line. Big Dan Cody from Ada, Oklahoma, one of the all Big 12 defensive linemen. A young man who's been quite of a story, has battled depression. Some of you may have seen that feature earlier in the day in the coverage of college football. He has come back after taking a year off, and he's one of the best.
I don't think anybody blocked him. Nobody got to him that time. Mike Johnson was supposed to get to him. Never got there on a trap play.
Al Roberson with 2nd and long. Puts it in his hands out to the 25-yard line. Well, you watch Al Roberson, who has grown up with this team, and we asked him about becoming the leader of the Wildcats.
Being a quarterback and being a leader of the team, you're going to have to get excited and let the guys know that you're going to come out and play hard, so they have to play for you. And my team knows it, and I got a lot of seniors around me that are pushing the younger guys and me as well to get this done.
Faces a 3rd and 5.
Nickel look in for Oklahoma. Poole is in the game.
Cody tried to get off the marks again on him. 1st down, Kansas State, as Al Roberson under pressure hits Thomas Hill, the senior from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Thomas Hill was a preseason All-Big 12 tight end. Got hurt, had surgery on his right ankle. Brian Casey comes in, can't get the starting job back. Talented guy that's just now rounding back into good health.
K-State puts Darren Sproles back on the field. He'll be lined up at a receiver. They split him far out to the left. 3 wide, and Sproles is one of them. Roberson keeps it on the run. Makes his way to the 40-yard line. Picks up about 6 yards on that carry and 1st down. And over here on the other side for Oklahoma, Paul Thompson, who is the backup quarterback, is starting to loosen up. So it is possible that Jason White will receive some medical attention down there. They're working on that elbow frantically, trying to get him back on the field. And Paul Thompson would be the substitute. Here it is 2nd down and 4. Kansas State leading number 1 ranked and unbeaten Oklahoma 14-7. There's White down there with the medical staff.
You know, it's not like he's a running quarterback. You can't go in there and just kind of fake it. If he can't throw, he can't play.
That familiar stand-up tight end. They set the middle screen. Here comes Sproles. 1st down, midfield. Breaks the daylight. In the run for the end zone. This will give him a 2-touchdown lead. He's got it. 60 yards on the middle screen to Darren Sproles. Al Roberson and Kansas State are alive and well.
Said it over and over again. To beat a good defense, you have to throw the ball deep, short, run the ball inside and outside. You have to screen outside and inside. And Kansas State is one of the few teams in college football can do it all. They got a running quarterback, and they've got an emerging star at running back. What a game plan, and it is being executed perfectly, first by Bill Snyder and then by Al Roberson.
Snyder played coy, came out and ran it for a couple of series. What they really want to do is put the ball in the air, and Al Roberson has 3 touchdown passes, and it's 21-7. Kansas State, a shocker in the Big 12 championship game.
Big 12 football. It all adds up to excellence.
An emerging star, we talked about Darren Sproles. He is a full package, maybe a small package, but a great package. Hard to find behind that big offensive line at only 5'6" or 7", but he's also hard to knock down. He's one of those guys, you hit him and he just keeps going, and his great asset, small but great speed, and we've seen it twice already tonight.
Jerry, over on the Oklahoma sideline, I don't think there's much doubt that Thompson is going to get at least 1 series. White is continuing to talk to the medical staff. He has his helmet on, though, and maybe he's trying to convince him. He's got the helmet on now, and he's still in a discussion with him, and he'll make a step down. But Thompson went down toward the offensive line. He's down with Kevin Wilson right now, and some of the wide receivers, he too has his headgear on. So we will find out exactly what's going to happen as Rankins comes back from the 5. Forced back to the right, and he's down at the 16-yard line. We check down on that sideline now to watch as White came from the medical staff running back to the huddle. So White is going to stay in the game. And let's go down to Jack.
Well, Brent, they worked on his right elbow, Jason White, but then they moved back down to the top part of his hand. When he got under the center, the problem was that he could take the snap, but Gary, when he started to throw, he still had severe pain, but he's going out there, and you know what they say? He's a gamer.
You know what, I'm just guessing here. I play a doctor sometimes, but I'm just guessing. Might have some numbness. Get hit in the elbow. Had it happen to me. That funny bone goes crazy. You can't feel your hand for a while. Gets hit. Watch. Ouch, and hits him right on the back of the elbow. I could almost bet that that's why he's got numbness in his hand. Send the bill over to Michigan if it's right.
Washington shaking up on that play for Kansas State. He goes off on the sideline for a time.
Got to have Washington. He's their big play guy, one of the best blitzers they've got on this football team. He and Hickman.
It looks like he's ready to come right back on the field after receiving medical attention. Has to go off for at least 1 play. Now, the first half, remember OU scored a touchdown, but take a look how they have been shut down. Then they put an 85-yard drive on, but the pass was intercepted in the end zone, and thus they are down 7. White fires complete. No pain there as he put it in Jones' hands for the first down. We check in with John in New York.
All right, with Terry and Craig, and we look at what happens if the unexpected is expected.
What if Oklahoma goes on to lose? We'll talk about all the scenarios, and there are a bunch of them right now.
Well, LSU is dominating Georgia. They may jump 1 or 2 teams.
It's going to be nuts.
Oregon State against USC, all coming up on the Capital One halftime show.
Let them play, lads. Let them play, and it'll all get sorted out. I'll tell you one thing. If K-State wins this, they're headed for Tempe in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl as the winners of the Big 12. That I can assure you. Now from the gun. White on the move. Fires complete. Lance Donley to the 45-yard line and the first down Sooners. And now the Kansas State sideline very unhappy that holding was not called.
Boy, was that a gutsy throw by Jason White on that one. He saw the linebacker bearing right down on him here. He just had a numb hand, bad elbow. He knows he's going to get rocked by Teddy Sims, and look at that delivery. That is what his teammates need to notice. This guy's a leader.
Pulls it down. Fires complete. Peoples inside the 45-yard line. Another first down. Plenty of time to work with here for the Sooners.
Yeah, very conservative, but I think smart.
Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, and no one is feeling the cold air right now as we take a look at a couple of the key plays in this game. Man was wide open. Sims deflects it. Then on the run to the right, McGill picks it off. And the other side, it was Darren Sproles on the middle screen, breaking free. And L. Roberson has thrown for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns against OU in this half. White, there's holding called this time. There's yellow all over. This one's coming back. Wilson's the receiver.
And that's exactly what a pass rush does against a pass. You got to keep coming. You might not sack them, but you keep coming, and sooner or later, someone's going to get grabbed and you make a play.
Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot.
There we have a comparison of Roberson against White in this game. Those 3 touchdowns for L. Roberson and that big interception thrown by White. And Roberson, of course, by far the more dangerous runner of the two. So L. Roberson and Bill Snyder have put K-State up by a couple of touchdowns in this game. There is the senior. When you take a look at his improvement through the years, you know how good a coaching job Snyder's staff has done. It's like light years every year when you see the progress that L. Roberson makes. And now Jason White with a 1st and 20.
Not like he didn't do it before. He did it with Michael Bishop and Jonathan Beasley also.
White fires, deflected, incomplete. And it will be 2nd down. Well, tomorrow everything has changed except everything you love about the Emmy-winning practice. The press calls it the #1 surprise of the fall season. Part of Sunday's best, the practice. 10/9 Central on ABC. So we spoke about Roberson. Look at this, folks, just passing yards per game. Look at the growth that he's shown under this coaching staff.
When I went and visited him Thursday and talked to him, he was very focused. He didn't seem to be that adrenaline-filled, I'm in your face, I want to scramble every play. He's learning how to play quarterback.
2nd and 20 for White and the Sooners. Lots of time. Left sideline, Jones kind of held up.
He didn't run out his pattern. You have a guy that likes to throw the ball deep. You got to keep running. And that time, Brandon Jones quit on the play. This is exactly what a team needs to do against a passing team. Make that quarterback make decisions. Jason White, I've watched him for 10 games. He threw to his first guy. First guy was open. Everybody tried to blitz him and hit him. You got to sit back and make that guy think. Look at Kansas State will now go with a 3-man line. They'll drop 8 people. 1, 2, 3.
3rd and 20. Backside pressure, he gets it off in time. Right at the 1st down marker, Peoples makes a grab.
Big time play right there.
Wow, and White had plenty of heat coming backside on this throw by Thomas Houchin.
He all the way. Houchin had him all the way, and White got him out of the pocket. Good job by Chuck Long, Kevin Wilson, and look at this strike. The comeback route. A lost start in college football because you don't have time anymore, and there's another hit. Purple on White. That's a chance you got to take sometimes. Keep coming at this guy.
4th and just short. Very, very short. He didn't quite get the 1st down because of the good play by the defensive back. So it's 4th down and 1 now with 1:26.
They do not like to run the quarterback sneak with Jason White.
Jones is the pounder. He figures to carry it behind Miles. No, play fake. They're going to throw for it. They got the tight end incomplete. He overthrows Lance Donnelly. So Oklahoma tries to come up throwing on 4th and short, and they will instead give it back to K-State with 1:21 left in the 1st half. And now, if Kansas State elects to be very conservative, they can take a 2-touchdown lead into the locker room.
Look at this. Don't gamble, Oklahoma. You got the better team. 4th and an inch with 1:21 to go. You don't need to do that. Too much of a risk.
Now let's see what Bill Snyder elects to do. Joe Ream has a long of 44 yards as his field goal kicker. He's up by 2 touchdowns. 1:21 to go. Roberson goes down. It'll be Second down with Lehman making the play defensively. And there's your last 4 possessions. They have scored 3 of the last 4 times that they've handled the ball for Bill Snyder.
And the amazing thing, the most time it took them was 5 plays to do it. This is a shock to an Oklahoma defense. I mean, when you looked at this defense, the thing that came to mind is they just don't give up big plays, and they're giving them up. It's reminiscent of the A&M game when they went deep a year ago.
Snyder is electing to run the clock out.
It'll be a timeout by Oklahoma now.
Third down is coming up.
They've got 2. They got 1 more left.
Well, let's take a closer look at the Kansas State quarterback.
My name is L. Roberson, and my nickname is Little L. My favorite professional athlete is Ray Lewis. He's a fighter on the field. Favorite food, Cajun food. Favorite movie would be 13th Warrior. 13 guys going to fight an army of people.
And he has been the 14th Warrior here tonight. He already has the record for touchdown passes in a Big 12 title game. The record was 3. L. Roberson has tied that record here in the first half. And Jack, he's done a wonderful job with this offense.
Well, Brent, you and Gary were talking about the fact that we've seen the maturation of L. Roberson. So has Coach Bill Snyder. We saw it at the Nebraska game when all of a sudden, when he first came out, the emotions were sky high. But one thing that L. Roberson told me that he's learned over the years is the importance of leadership and the importance that is put on his shoulders to stay focused. One of the things that I happen to notice tonight is L. Roberson is in total command. In fact, when they're off during a timeout, it is L. Roberson leading the offense, talking to them. There isn't as much coaching going on as there is leadership by L. Roberson.
Well, L. Roberson against Nebraska was just outstanding. And before the game started, he went out and let it be known at the coin flip that they were not backing away. K-State had not won in Lincoln since the 60s, Gary.
Absolutely. He's the ultra ego of this football team. He proved to his teammates that there was no R, no reverse in this guy. Very conservative play here. Yep.
Roberson will try to stay in bounds. They do get him out. They stop that clock over there at 27 seconds. Corey Klein in pursuit.
Yeah, it wasn't worth the extra 3 or 4 yards. Easy to say up here, you know, a little bit of obvious second guess, but if you slide down, stay in bounds, like, well, I got another second guess. Bill Snyder's got.
And that one counts. Oh, by the way. Okay.
That's probably the last thing he told L. Roberson, don't go out of bounds.
And because Perkins, who in a game against UCLA returned 3 punts for touchdowns, goes back. Now, Jared Bright has done a good job. A timeout is going to be called here by Kansas State because Oklahoma might try to come after this punt and block it.
Bright has been very slow in his deliveries, but the reason Travis Wilson made a good play right there, Kansas State only had 10 men on the field. He smartly noticed it, and that is a great timeout for Kansas State. Must get this ball off quickly. Anything, can't have a blocked punt.
Now, it's interesting how both of these schools go to Texas to recruit, and Kansas State's 3 captains are all from Texas. Roberson, Buell, and Leckie the center. Oklahoma, its 3 captains homegrown. Lehman, Works, and Klein of this Sooner team. 4th down. Jared Bright back to punt. Perkins. You can see his average tonight. That's better than his season average with a 56 long.
One
of the most underrated parts of big-time football is your punter giving you field position and getting it out of there. And he hangs it beautifully. Perkins surrounded. Doubles back. And he's down inside the 10-yard line. So a great play by Andrew Scholl coming downfield for him. One of the big defensive linemen on this team.
Unbelievable. I would draft this guy right now for that reason. You watch a defensive lineman, Scholl is 6'5", 265 pounds, and watch him run down Antonio Perkins. Look at this play. You've got a defensive end. You want to talk about a guy that's just going to shoot up the draft. That, I'd take him right now.
Andrew Schultz says, hey, you forgot about me on that all Big 12 team.
Holy cow. I mean, Oklahoma's got to take a knee now. There's no reason to even try it.
And they line up in the take a knee formation. They'll go down into their locker room here at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. And they are in shot. Bill Snyder with a 2-touchdown lead. We check in with Jack.
So, Coach, what do you do in the second half?
Well, hopefully you don't give up big plays. We've given up maybe two big plays on defense. That's about it. And offensively, we've moved the football. We've just come up short on a few possession down, third down, fourth down plays.
Thanks, Coach.
Kansas State leading it 21-7. Nobody gave him a chance. Now let's find out what John, Terry, and Craig have to say about this. Take it away, fellas.
Brent, I want a show of hands. Everybody who was concentrating so much on USC LSU that they paid no attention to this game, thought it was a given for Oklahoma. Raise your hands.
Kansas City, gonna get my baby back home. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to Kansas City, gonna get my baby back home. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a long, long time since my baby's been gone.
And it is a stunning night in Kansas City with the Wildcats leading as we check in on the Pacific Life game summary. Oklahoma's ballyhooed offense, #1 in the nation, averaging better than 48 points a game, are 1 of 9 on third down, and they've scored only 1 touchdown on their first possession of the game. Joe Ream with the ball on the tee. The Sooners will have the first possession. You're looking at Rankins, #3, back with Mark Bradley from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And here comes Bradley from the 5. 20. Out of bounds. And so, Gary Danielson, what's your out-of-whack stat?
Well, coming into this football game, Oklahoma's longest pass play of the season was 42 yards. So far in this football game, 2 pass plays over 60 yards. The big play. That's the out-of-whack.
There's something he agrees with me on. Folks, the worst thing that happened to Oklahoma, not the fact they played Kansas State, the fact that everybody wrote they're going to go to New Orleans, win or lose. That's a bad thing to tell a football team.
Well, everybody tells you good. A lot of backs on the, pat on the back, pat on the back. You forget to do your weightlifting and do all the things you have to do. You lose just a bit of focus.
First and 10 from the shotgun. White fakes the handoff. Peoples. And they get 13 yards on the first play of the second half.
Jason White is good because they attack different parts of the field. They throw it to all different sides, outside, deep. Loves to throw the deep ball and usually is very, very high completions. That interception, though, in the goal line, I think those back-to-back plays, Brent, the tipped pass by Teddy Sims and then the interception on the very next play is a real big turnaround in this game.
Yeah, when McGill made that interception right in the middle of the end zone, I think you're exactly right. First down and 10. Here comes the blitz. Middle's open, and Buell dropped back with Washington and defended the pass incomplete. Now, Jack, what did Coach Snyder have to say?
Well, Brent, actually, I think Coach Snyder took Gary's victory recipe, and that's what he talked about at halftime. He talked about the fact that they had not seen any other team really get up in Jason White's face. He talked about the importance for them to continue to do so. Gary, what he wanted to do is he said more purple, as you said, on white.
Yeah, they've done a great job of that. They've also covered well and let things happen in front of them, not giving up the big play.
Inside handoff to Jones. Nothing doing. He's going to be thrown for a loss.
You have to put it together if you're going to do things on Jason White. Purple on white was the theme all week, and that's exactly what they did. It's not always just sacks. It's hitting at quarterback after he throws the ball. You know, the other thing that's starting to emerge in this game, touchdown run by Kewan Jones of 42 yards early in this game. Total yards rushing by Oklahoma now, 49 yards. No run game at all.
Now 3rd and 11. And this offensive line has been under fire all game long. A Three-man rush leaves the middle open. First down, and Jones spins inside the 40-yard line. Now let's go back to the offensive line story. Two members of this Sooner team made the All-Big 12 team. But like we said at the top of the broadcast, they must protect White. They had given up 9 sacks in the previous 2 games. Gary has gone over the fact, he's showing you the video, that because of the knee injuries, White is not mobile. Therefore, the offensive line becomes the story of this second half. They must protect number 18.
And no running game to help them so far.
Now on first down, Clayton juggles, going to throw the halfback pass, going to take off. Sideline, dashes, still goes, touchback. What a spectacular run by Clayton, who was going to throw the end-around pass and made it to the 10-yard line with a penalty flag on the far side and indications from the K-State sideline, oh, this one's coming back.
Usually when those great players start changing direction, like on a punt return, players get blocked in the back. There he is right there, lined up in the backfield. High school quarterback. That's why they felt they could trust him with the football. Look at those skills. Runs through it. There's the block and be hacked by Peoples, number 29. That is a good call.
That reminded me of Dante Hall returning a punt on this field as I looked down there.
Happened right down there, didn't it?
Absolutely.
That's what happens when those shifty guys switch. Then the defenders change their angles as he changes, and what looked like a good block turns into a bad block. You know, I think, Brent, that last pickup on third down, we have seen the end of the 3-man rush for Kansas State.
You're right, there was no heat.
Nope.
First and 12. Here's Works, right side alley. And he busted across the 30-yard line.
J.D. Runnels. Bob Stoops loves to talk about his fullback. Watch him come around and get the block. I think it's on Buell. No, it's at the end man of the line. Andrew Shull that time seals him off, gets the big tackle. Jamal Brown on the linebacker, and that makes it work.
Works from a very deep set. Won't get it done because of Jesse Tetwan out of Topeka, the sophomore safety.
Tetwan and McGill, the 2 safeties that have been rotating for Kansas State. I'll tell you, I've watched a lot of Kansas State football over the years. They were an attack team, a gambling defense, come at you from every angle. This is a different look. Brent Bielema and Bobby Elliott has brought a different look to this defense than I've seen. They sit back and force you to beat them over and over again. They don't give you the big play.
So Bielema coordinating the defense on the field. He's been very successful with his calls against third down plays. White in trouble. On the move, and it is complete. What a wonderful catch by Clayton. At the 25-yard line, they move the chains and credit number 9.
Get out of that 3-man rush, Kansas State. It's been disaster for you. Yeah, you've got to pick off once you got down to the end zone, but not enough pressure on Jason White. He's able to dodge around. That time it was Kevin Huntley, number 52, and he's just too active. Can't give this guy opportunity to throw the ball.
This is an 8-play drive so far, 4 runs and 4 passes. They've moved 49 yards to the 25-yard line. A first down for White, flanked by Works, and now Runnels goes in motion. White, pump fake left, looks back middle, goes toward incomplete because Washington was working against Clayton that time inside the 5-yard line.
Great coverage by Kansas State. Tried to go with a slant and go to the other side of the field. Look at Jason White, look left. It wasn't there. They ran the option and go, and Rashard Washington, watch him get his hand. No panic, just stay with it. Both hands on the football instead of one behind the receiver. No pass interference.
27th consecutive start for number 2. He's the dean of that defensive backfield. Overall in the game, White is 19-31 for 237 and 1 interception. Flanker screen, they want to put it in Clayton's hands. He's inside the 20-yard line. So dangerous after the catch, as Gary told you back in the first half. The linebacker Hickman making the stop. And that brings up another point, the speed of the linebackers on this Kansas State team. The one thing you wonder about Hickman and Buell is how they all hold up in that fourth quarter. They're going to test conditioning of these two football teams. It's been a high-energy, fast-paced game here tonight in KC. 3rd down and 2. Jones, the running back, with a deep set. And they're lining White up under center more than they did in the first half. Jones rounds the middle. Got the first down. They move the chains again.
Power old play that time. That's a staple. Usually you see Oklahoma run this in the fourth quarter of a game with the lead. This time on 3rd and short, they pull the backside guard, Kelvin Chason, and run the play they should have ran when it was 4th and inches earlier in the second quarter.
That first trip inside the red zone ended in the end zone interception by McGill. 2-touchdown lead for a team that came into the game, a 2-touchdown underdog. Clayton is out to the left. Peoples to the right. White going to go to Clayton, and it's over his head and out of the end zone.
Does Kansas State, are they well prepared for this football game? They know that Oklahoma loves to max protect. By that I mean keep their backs in and run slant corners. Kansas State is giving them the slant and backing off into the corner. I think Chuck Long will see that. Next time he comes down there, he's going to throw that slant.
No coach in college football is a better preparer than Bill Snyder. He's a legend. And in fact, a lot of assistant coaches have complained privately about the number of hours they spend, but it pays huge dividends in so many games. 2nd down and 10. Jones, a yard or two before he's stopped by that Kansas State defense.
Let's see if they come with that 3-man rush unit again. What will Bielema and Elliott do this time?
So Bielema, by far less celebrated than the defensive coordinators on the other sideline, where Mike Stoops has recently been named the head coach down at Arizona.
They bring in Kevin Huntley. That's their rush package. Huntley, 6'8", 265, goes in at defensive tackle. They got a 4-man rush. That's him shifting over right there.
Clayton again in his hands, and he slips. At the 11-yard line, Clayton slips, and it's 4th down. Here comes the field goal team. Bob Stoops does not hesitate. Earlier, Trey DiCarlo missed only his 2nd field goal of the season, that from 44 yards. This far more makeable. Matt McCoy, he's the holder. Jacob Rice, the long snapper, has not had a bad snap in 2 years at Oklahoma. On the money. He is 0 for 2. Trey DiCarlo misses 2 field goals in the Big 12 championship game. That, folks, is a story. Timeout.
Hey, Okie, Sam, Michael, Will. Sam, Will. Your guy comes vertical, Josh. Your guy comes vertical, and that's it. We're all back with him. You got to knock that.
Gary Danielson told me that Brett Bielema was a rising star. He was talking about his strong side and his weak side linebackers, and he has continued to coach Bob Elliott, the other coordinator upstairs, sending down information. A great job by this staff so far. Timeout. Lovely horse-drawn carriages down there in the plaza area. And so the folks in purple are really enjoying what's unfolding here.
Brent, Oklahoma's stars have been quiet. Lehman, Harris, Derek Strait. We have not talked a lot about them.
L. Roberson, the handoff to Sproles. Sproles tries to get the corner, and Strait was there with Lehman in pursuit. There, the two of them are right there to cut off Sproles.
L. Roberson handled very well by Bill Snyder, came easy. Then this pass right there, the one to the tight end right there, that got this team electric. The one thing, He has not made a big mistake. Oklahoma's defense, 4 straight years have had 20 or more interceptions. They don't have one tonight.
3 wide, Roberson keeps it and dashes for the first down to the 35-yard line before Brodney Poole makes the stop. Roberson tonight has thrown for 182 and run for another 22.
Tommy Harris right there. The All-American has been handled tonight. Jerome Clary, number 66, has done a great job. Those 2 tackles, Doty and Clary, started slow. They're new starters this year. As they have improved, the Kansas State offense has improved.
And Gary Wilcher did a good job of helping out on that, didn't he? Sproles slips, cuts back, daylight, 45, out to midfield, and another Kansas State first down. 5'7". Darren Sproles, the elusive one.
Watch him read this block right here. Coming from the end, I think it's Jonathan Jackson, comes inside. No, it's Dusty Dvorak, number 94, inside Odlecki. Comes inside, and well, I don't know who's going to win the Heisman this year. I really don't know right now. But I'll tell you, Darren Sproles is going to be the front runner for next year. This guy is an emerging star.
Well, he could win the Doak Walker this year. He's one of the 3 finalists, along with Chris Perry of Michigan and Kevin Jones of Virginia Tech. First time that a K-State player has ever been a finalist for the Doak Walker. Here he comes again, cutting through the middle, taking charge before straight, rides him down at the 36-yard line, and now Sproles with 13 more yards has 94 rushing yards against this defense.
97, Tommy Harris. You know, we talk about patience for a quarterback. Oklahoma's defensive line, where's that patience? He's rushing the passer on a running play. You must have patience and read your keys. Oklahoma is in a hurry to make plays that aren't there.
Polite is the slot receiver to Roberson's left. Terry is outside him. Draw play. Here comes Sproles to the short side of the field. Makes his way to the 30-yard line. And Jack Darren Sproles, the little tank.
And Brent, he has been dominant since he was 8 years old and started playing in the Pee Wee leagues. In fact, he was so big in those Pee Wee games, he was so dominant that they changed the rules. They actually wrote a rule for Darren Sproles saying he could only run the ball just so many times. His high school coach, Gene Weir, said they had to do it because nobody could catch him.
He almost could sneak out into that Pee Wee league right now and nobody would notice him, would they?
5'7", 170 pounds. Roberson on the quarterback draw. In behind one of his linemen and battles his way to the 25-yard line. Another first down, Everidge making the OU tackle.
Well, if L. Roberson emerges now in this second half as an alternative running back, Oklahoma's in trouble. This is a guy, the second leading rusher on this football team behind Darren Sproles is L. Roberson. He has 194 attempts coming into this game, and he's rushed for over 1,000 yards, but when you subtract his sacks, he's under 1,000. You can see how valuable he is.
K-State at the 25-yard line. Option looking. Roberson keeps it most of the time. Football! Lehman can't get it. Still loose.
I think they got it.
Lehman could not get the handle on the bouncing football, and K-State recovered it.
It was one of those offensive linemen that were crawling on the ground. I think it's Nick Leckie, number 53, the All-American, that really just laid out. L. Roberson had the big fumble against Texas to turn that game around. Here he gets popped. Ball goes loose, and let's see who's yes, it is Nick Leckie. Watch him just crawl. Goes over the top of Lehman, reaches out with his right hand and yanks it in.
Great strength at the end is Leckie from Grapevine, Texas. 6'4", 285, pulled it back in the center. All Big 12 team this year makes a huge recovery. Now on first down, Sproles spins in the hole inside the 10-yard line. Well, tomorrow night, after you find out who's going to the BCS Bowl games at 5:30 on ABC, check this out on ESPN. Our friend Reese Davis will give you the entire bowl lineup for the whole month of December and on through January 4th. That's at 6 Eastern Sunday. So you got a doubleheader. First, you got to watch the Totitos BCS show, then you switch on over to ESPN and find out where your favorite team is going overall. Second down. Roberson keeps it. And he's ridden down at the 10-yard line. Jackson in on that play. So Kansas State shocking the college football universe here tonight. L. Roberson, 6 of 12, 182 yards, but 3 of his 6 completions have been for touchdowns. This one a 63-yarder to Terry. So 50% of his throws tonight have gone for scores. This one to Sproles. Looking for the record breaker. He has tied the Big 12 championship record. Brandon Stewart of Texas A&M in that big win over Kansas State. Threw 3 in that game. Looking for the record. Got it. Touchdown. And he throws it back.
I think it was Polite got it. Number 2.
Antoine Polite.
Boy, look at a play-action pass play on 3rd down. If you can run the ball, you can control linebackers. They fake it to Sproles right there. Comes out that holds the linebacker. There's Polite right behind him. A strike. Look at the strike. Wide open. Brandon Everidge can't get there. And that is a beautiful throw and a beautiful play.
Let's go back to that fumble now that Oklahoma could not recover. That is a huge swing in this football game as Ream, a chance to put him up by 3 touchdowns.
Polite's first touchdown of the year. Coming across a little bootleg, freezes the linebackers, and look at that.
L. Roberson and Kansas State lead it 28-7. Mike Stoops in his last game as the defensive coordinator before he takes over the reins. Prior to the game, the man who gave him a chance to be an assistant coach, Bill Snyder, in a very warm conversation prior to the game.
A little bit of everything.
But now Stoops is in uncharted territory. They have given up 4 touchdown passes, a Big 12 championship record. The story there is Mike Stoops was the defensive coordinator on the night that Brandon Stewart shocked Kansas State in overtime in a Big 12 championship game. This is Bradley for the Sooners. And of course, the story that is going to make the rounds after this game is the fact that Mike Stoops was probably distracted by the fact that he had been selected as the head coach down at Arizona. However, that would detract from the job that is being done right now by Bill Snyder's coaching staff, along with Roberson, Sproles, and the offensive and defensive lines of this Kansas State football game. This is the Pontiac High Performance Drive summary. 9 rushes and 1 pass. Jones to daylight, right side, and caught from behind by Justin Montgomery, another of those defensive linemen who have such great recovery speed.
Justin Montgomery is a nose tackle. Coming back, no quit, cool night, not tired. They just saw their offense march it down against Oklahoma, running the ball 9 times and throwing it 1 time. This defense is ready. Short pass, they broke it, line it back up, don't panic. Oklahoma.
He is a cousin of Mark Simoneau, by the way, Gary.
Yep.
Both from Smith Center, Kansas, and great high school football players, I'm told. White is down at the 45. There's a war being waged between the FBI and the mob, and you'll get both sides of the story. All new Line of Fire Tuesday, 10/9 Central on ABC, and the viewer discretion is advised.
And right now, Jason White is in the line of fire. Justin Montgomery again put pressure on him. Jason White has not seen pressure like this all year.
2nd and 13. He could not step away from the outside pressure by Scott Edmonds, the sophomore defensive lineman from Kansas City. So he comes home and makes a big play. Jack?
Brent, it's obvious. You can see the frustration on Jason White whenever his defense is out on the field. Sometimes in that situation, coaches have to state the obvious. Cale Gundy came up to him and the rest of the skill players on offense and said, fellas, we can still drive the ball. He says, but what's most important, we've yet to finish.
3rd and 17. Hard to the left. Fires high, incomplete because of Washington running into Jones. Number 2 with a whack in that secondary, jarred the ball loose.
Last time it was 3rd down, Oklahoma sprinted to the right. This time they dashed to the left. Kansas State is ready. There's Washington right there. Watch him break on the ball. It's a bit of a knuckler. Watch how much ground he makes up with that ball in the air. About 15 yards because Jason threw a knuckler.
Ferguson. Sproles looks for the coverage. Knows he's got a lot of room. Back at the 10. And he is down at the 9-yard line. Excellent coverage by the Sooners on that play. Russell Dennison, a sophomore linebacker, down the field, leading the charge for Oklahoma. Well, time permitting, the Thrifty Carmona postgame report. John, Terry, and Craig. So stay tuned for highlights and analysis from all of the games. And doesn't this throw everything up in the air? One of the stories that we have not covered yet, and I'm sure there's some very long faces right now in Austin, Texas, because if Kansas State goes, they knock the Longhorns out of consideration for a BCS Bowl. Only 2 teams can go from one conference to BCS Bowls. Oklahoma obviously still in the running because of their performance all year long, regardless of what happens here, as Sproles is eaten up on the play. And it means that Kansas State is automatic from this conference if they win this game. In all likelihood, unless some trading goes on, but in all likelihood, they would go down to Tempe, to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. And look at this. After 3 quarters this year, they are 9-0, and they're going to have a lead as the final seconds run off. The folks in purple right now, I mean, they can taste it. They have not won a championship of any kind since 1934, when Kansas State was a member of the Big Six. They're 15 minutes away from the biggest upset of the season. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. The pressure builds now. Kansas State with that balance, Gary.
30 running plays, 13 passes. How about that? 4 touchdowns and 13 passes.
They lead it 28-7 as we start the final quarter. And Roberson keeps the ball in his hands right now. You know, I want to make a point because everybody's been saying, win or lose, Oklahoma's going to the Nokia Sugar Bowl and play the championship. Let's not overlook the human voters, the writers and the coaches. They're down right now 28-7. They've been thumped pretty good here tonight. You don't know what kind of impression that's going to make on them. There's a lot of points at stake in this thing.
I have no idea. One thing I do know is there's going to be a run on computers. Everybody's going to want to find out what's going on. Go get your computer right now.
I got no clue, folks. All I know is what we're seeing here is amazing. 28-7, and Sproles bolts for first down. I mean, they're starting to put it to them a little bit here. The Dr. Pepper third quarter stats of this game. A 3-touchdown lead, Gary.
They have done it with great balance. Look at that, 150, 192. You don't have to have play calling balance, but balance in yards like that, that is amazing. Oklahoma's lack of ability to run, and you know what, right now, it appears that Oklahoma's like the big bully on the street. He's never been knocked down before, and he's not used to it.
Bill Snyder is hiding some internal feelings right now. He is so excited about the possibility right here. He has to keep thinking about what to do. But Bill Snyder has done everything but win a Big 12 championship. And you just know, because remember, when Bob Stoops moved back to Oklahoma, he raided that man's coaching staff. Among others, he took his brother, Mike Stoops, down there. He took Brent Venables. There were bad feelings around on both sides as a result. There is no one in a championship game that Snyder would rather beat than the Stoops brothers here tonight.
If you've never made the drive from Kansas City to Manhattan, Kansas, you have no idea what a great job this man has done in building this program.
Roberson off the fake. Got an open Polite. Got him for the first down at the 41-yard line. L. Roberson with a beautiful ball fake that time. 33 more yards passing.
Play action passes in the fourth quarter. We knew it was going to be key. There's Polite, middle of the field. Brandon Everidge stops on the tight end right there. You got to be as deep as the deep. He bites on the tight end. Lack of confidence. Too much. Trying to make big plays. Oklahoma's trying to make things happen that aren't there right now. Play action passes in the fourth. Bill Snyder is in heaven right now.
Roberson will keep it. About 80% of the time, when he shows option, he'll keep it in his hands. And Jack, what do you hear about Dvorak down on the field?
Well, Brent, they tried to go without Dvorak. When Dusty came off the field, he took a very hard hit on his left lower leg. He cannot get down in a four-point stance very comfortably. And when you watch him out there, because he did come back out, he can't fire off the ball the way he did before. He's playing with a wounded leg.
Look how many Oklahoma guys have their hands on their hips out there.
2nd and 7. Roberson with the pitch to Sproles, who's bottled up on the sideline. And going nowhere as Teddy Lehman brings him down.
Really surprised by that play. Option, not second-guessing Bill Snyder. He knows more than I ever knew. But that is a dangerous play into the sideline. Right now, I think it's quarterback draw, and if you throw the ball, throw it deep. How would you like to have 8 completions for 225 yards out of your quarterback?
You can just think of the emotions. Snyder taking over a program that, if not the worst in the country, was certainly amongst them. And turning Kansas State into a power. Perhaps the greatest turnaround in college football history. And now he has got a team that's been compared with the very best of all time on the ropes. Sproles reaches down, picks it up, and straight tackles him. 4th and long. And John, what's going on in the SEC?
Brandon, this SBC update, LSU's doing it on both sides of the ball. David Green is picked off by Lionel Turner. Takes it 18 yards, just a little stroll to the end zone, and it's a 24-6 lead for LSU.
All right, John, and here, of course, Oklahoma in deep trouble. This will come out, I believe. Did he touch it, make the play? I thought it was into the end zone.
It is. They're calling it a touchback.
Yep. So it'll come out on the 20-yard line. Time running down. Team unbeaten and ranked number 1. Now, with Pete Carroll and USC having won big, and with LSU and Nick Saban winning big, and Oklahoma being beaten up rather handily by Kansas State, will the Riders go 1-2 and drop Oklahoma to 3? I mean, there are so many storylines unfolding here tonight as White complete to the left side and Buell is over there defensively. Now, the Pacific Life game summary, and Gary, I'm going to turn this over to you because you think this was the turning point.
Absolutely. 14-7 game. This is a touchdown. If Teddy Sims doesn't get his hand on that, and then Jason White tries to make something happen on 3rd and 5, it's picked off by James McGill, and that 14-14 game turns into a 14-7 game. 4 plays later, the screen pass to Sproles for a touchdown.
Now we've got 3rd down, 10:24 to go after that Incompletion. We'll take a look. Jones was out here, was very well defended. In fact, K-State fans were hoping for an interception on that play.
Yep.
And it went through Jones. Here's your third down. And in talking, Gary, the Sooners almost have to score every time they touch the ball right now.
I think the most they're going to get the ball is 4 more times in the game. They're down 3 touchdowns. You could get an onside kick to change it, but you almost have to score every possession.
So here's a big third down for the Sooners. Picked off. Intercepted by Teddy Sims. Touchdown! The dagger is delivered by the young man who deflected that ball earlier in the end zone. Races into the end zone, and suddenly, folks, this is not a close loss. This is a runaway for the Wildcats.
How wrong could I be? I said Kansas State absolutely had a chance to beat Oklahoma, but they had to win by a TKO. They've got the champ on the mat, and it ain't count. They could knock out Oklahoma in this football game, and they could knock Jason White right out of the Heisman.
A stunning score at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. OU fans are shocked. It's 35-7. A 2-touchdown underdog, so well coached by Bill Snyder, is now just 10 minutes and 16 seconds away from a championship. The skyline of Kansas City, and a big night for some Kansas State linebackers, as Sims has just taken the interception into the end zone for the Wildcats and moved them ever closer to their first ever Big 12 title. Here's Bradley. 20. Spins. Stopped. Well, it's been a great year as this one unfolds here tonight, and tomorrow join host Justin Timberlake for a look back at an amazing year of athletic achievements. The Thrill of Victory 2003, presented by Bank of America. ABC Sports Year in Review tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, right here on ABC Sports Championship Television. Well, we better open up a little window for this game, folks, in that show tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right.
Because Bill Snyder and Kansas State closing in. Clayton goes in motion. White's under pressure. Knocked away again. Number 23 makes the play, Jesse Tetwan.
Let's go back to the interception. I'm sure you all want to see it. There's Teddy Sims. There's the other linebacker, Josh Buell. Watch this. If Simmons doesn't get it, Buell would have. Jason White forcing the ball inside. Bad decision. One of the worst decisions he's made all year. Actually, maybe even worse than the one near the goal line. That is a bad one.
2nd and 10. Complete to the 30-yard line. So we're by 3rd and 5. Cedric Williams making the defensive play as we check in again with John Saunders in New York.
Well, Brent, Georgia trying to keep this thing close. David Green finally, 18 yards, hooks up with Benjamin Watson. He gets it across the goal line. Touchdown makes it 24-13. But LSU right now is inside the 5.
3rd down and 4. White's got Clayton. Extends for the catch, and it's incomplete as he put it down, going out. Ball hit the ground. The official was right on top of it.
Get used to the look that Kansas State will play the rest of this game. Safeties are 15 yards and backing up at the snap. Everything will happen underneath the rest of the football game. They'll play clock, they'll play conservative, and they will force Oklahoma, if they do score 2, 3, 4 more times, to do it the long way.
It's 4th and 4 with 9:27 to go. Over the middle, 1st down. So they move the chains as the tight end Lance Donnelly makes the grab for the 1st down.
anything but a big play. This is a defense that Bielema and Elliott learned at Iowa. Iowa plays the same style as now the hurry-up comes for Oklahoma. They're not just using shotgun, forcing a timeout by Kansas State.
One of the coaches who has done such a good job, Bret Bielema, with the K-State defense. The highest scoring team in Oklahoma history has been held to 7 points in the Big 12 championship game. 7 times this year, they've scored at least 50 points, averaging better than 48 points a game, a total of 580 points. The Wildcats did not believe in all that press, and again, this is why they play the games. Under pressure, the screen, a good call, and Jones doesn't get much out of it as Rashad Washington, the safety who's been all over the field, makes the play. And of course, at the end of the game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
It is amazing to watch Kansas State keep all 3 linebackers on the field the whole game.
White looking for someone to clear. Almost intercepted as Tetwan came over the top. A shocker unfolding at Arrowhead Stadium. The Kansas State defense has stopped the run, deflected the pass, intercepted one in the end zone, and they have abused Jason White. 2 interceptions here tonight. That one for a touchdown by Sims. 3rd down, 35-7, K-State leading. 3 wide to the left. Fires middle high. Jones got it. 1st down, Oklahoma. Need a quick score and then go to the onside kick. That's an 18-yard gain.
It'll be all onside kick. How about this time? Kansas State only rushes 3 defenders. Oklahoma uses 5 linemen, and they keep their back in to help.
Only 2 defensive linemen right now. There's a mistake. Timeout couldn't be called. White's going to throw it. The defensive lineman was standing over there, and people still beat him. How about that? Jermaine Berry didn't know that he was supposed to be on the field. He went off, then he came back. He was standing in no man's land.
What if he'd intercepted that ball?
There's a new look defense.
Oh, man.
And Berry is shaken up.
They're tired. Kansas State now is out of gas. For the first time in the game, the no-huddle, the quick plays, has really fatigued this defensive line for Kansas State.
Snyder and the line coach getting into it because they didn't have 11 healthy players out on the field. White needs to take advantage. Here comes the rush for the linebackers. White steps away. Heaves it in zone. Incomplete.
Blitz. Man-to-man coverage. They came after Jason White on that play.
Williams with the coverage.
First time in the second half I've seen man-to-man coverage from Kansas State. Boy, they out of gas. Scott Edmonds, number 93, just crawls to the sideline now.
The defensive call. Clayton is off to the left. Now in motion through the formation, all the way out to the right. Deflected, incomplete, and it's 3rd and 10.
One of the keys you must remember when you play a shotgun team, they like to throw a lot of short balls. Justin Montgomery that time, number 92. You gotta get those defensive linemen. If you can't get to the quarterback on the short passing game, get your hands up. There's Justin. He's had a great game, plugging inside and just gets that right paw on the quick slant. 4 down territory. 4 down game for Oklahoma.
Time permitting, of course, the Thrifty Carvana postgame report with John, Terry, and Craig. So stay tuned for highlights and analysis from today's matchups, and perhaps they can sort out the BCS chaos that's now unfolding as a result of what we've seen out in Los Angeles, down in Atlanta, and especially right here in Kansas City. Will it be possible for both USC and LSU to vault past Oklahoma? Nobody thought it was at all possible when the week began. All the gurus who think they've cracked the codes. We shall see. White fires, deflected, incomplete. K-State takes over. 7:44 to go. Lavender deflected that ball.
Brett Bielema just went crazy on the Kansas State sideline, jumping up and down. Lavender came in. You see it. There's the middle. That's the middle of that Tampa 2 zone. Everyone's running it. You put a guy in the middle, you take the crossing routes, and then Jason tips off the crossing route, and here comes Lavender, beats the ball, slightly thrown behind the receiver, and another stop.
So we'll take a break. Kansas State is only 7:44 away from a shocking upset. Oklahoma had plundered the Big 12. You can see the comparison of the school's averages and what they did against this OU defense. Pay a particular attention to Colorado. They put up a good stand against them. But then take a look at what Kansas State has done here tonight. They have put 35 on the board. And Sproles takes off in a foot race. Can State get him? They've got him out of bounds, but there is a flag back by the line of scrimmage. And it's interesting that just during that commercial, Lynn Stiles of the Kansas City Chiefs front office came in here and made the observation to me that Sproles reminded him of Dante Hall. And with that speed down the sideline over there, it was certainly reminiscent of the little fella. Covered a lot of real estate here.
He's much bigger than Dante. Runs like him, but he's bigger than him. This might be against Oklahoma. I'll tell you, he ran right by Derek Strait, and Strait had the angle on that play also. I was shocked that he ran by Derek Strait like that. There's a lot of meeting going on here.
You know, Gary, thinking of the Big 12 Championship and the many great games that I have seen unfold, the very first one.
Before Mason was legal, there were 7 people on the line of scrimmage, therefore there's no flag.
So it has been picked up, a 60-yard run as we take a look at this play, and you watch the great running back, which takes me back to the first game. Texas was a heavy underdog against Nebraska. Ricky Williams and a fellow by the name of Priest Holmes were the running backs that night. Dick Vermeil happened to be the analyst. Priest Holmes had a huge game. And guess who now carries the load for Vermeil, having been picked up as a free agent when Carl Peterson got him away from Baltimore. So the Big 12 plays a role with these Kansas City Chiefs who play Denver tomorrow. John Bible getting this one all sorted out in the middle.
Dead ball, false start on the offense. 5 yards.
Well, here's your victory recipe, Gary.
Boy, they did it. Purple on white. Yes, El must excel. 4 touchdown passes, and I just messed up that little T right there.
This was hardly a TKO, was it?
James Terry on that last run by Sproles, because Kansas State went unbalanced line. He had a great block on the play.
You know, maybe Nebraska wasn't so bad after all for losing that game. Maybe Frank Solich wasn't too bad a coach. Any folks up there? There's a penalty flag thrown by referee Bible. This is a very, very good Kansas State. Well, let me take you back to last August. I remember reading in some of the preseason publications, more than one, that a lot of folks put Kansas State right up there with the elite teams. In fact, somebody wrote that they might go 15-0. They played an extra game, and they might win the national championship. But then Al Roberson fractured his left hand and missed 2 games. And remember that Bill Snyder did not use him against Marshall. They were shocked in that game, their first loss. They then came down to Austin. Texas beat them. Oklahoma State made it 3 in a row before they finally put it in overdrive, and Roberson got back in rhythm. And Gary, I ask you, if he had it to do all over again, would he have used Roberson against Marshall?
I don't think Bill would have, but I think Al Roberson wanted him to do that. I talked to Al about it. I said, don't you wish you would have been able to play against Marshall? Were you able? He said, absolutely. I was begging to play, but Coach didn't want it. And we did that Texas game, and I thought Al Roberson was very rusty in the first half. Remember, they trailed 17-3 at half. They took the lead in that game, but still ended up losing.
Jackson comes in, and the Oklahoma fans are just they're stunned as to what has happened. They came in here favored by 2 big touchdowns.
They're going to take a timeout, Kansas State. They're bleeding the clock down, and then they'll figure out what to do.
And let's check in with John on what's happening with LSU.
Well, they're running at will, and the defense has just come up with another stop. This is Justin Vincent. He has 139 yards on the day, 3 here, 31-13. The Tigers pulling away from the Dogs.
Well, it now becomes a jump ball amongst 3 schools who are certainly on the Sugar Trail. I mean, 2 of these 3 are coming to play in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. And the question is now, in my mind, will USC and LSU jump Oklahoma in one of the human polls? And the coaches, of course, vote in one, the USA Today, ESPN, and the AP poll, it's the writers. How will they evaluate what's unfolding here this afternoon and tonight? I don't think anybody thought that Kansas State could dominate Oklahoma. I think there's a lot of people who thought they could upset them, but not by what's happening here at 35-7. This is just a shocking score as Thompson begins to lumber up here on the sideline.
Yeah, this Kansas State team is constructed in a way that should be able to give Oklahoma trouble. This much trouble, nobody would have ever believed. But Oklahoma, like a lot of undefeated teams, hasn't been used to getting knocked on their butt. They lost confidence. We saw it right away from this guy, Antonio Perkins, when he got beat on the play by James Terry, and it seemed to spread throughout that Oklahoma defense.
Second down and a bunch. Flags fly.
Good ball. False start on the offense. 5 yards. Second down.
And Jack, the clock can't move fast enough for Coach Snyder and the K-State sideline.
No, indeed it can't. Brent, one of the things I found interesting in talking to the coaches for K-State is how they prepared for this game. Now, when you work for Coach Snyder, you break down every available tape possible, especially when you have a bye week. But this time they broke it down by quarters and situations on their computer. One game came to mind a lot. That was the Alabama game.
Second down and 30. Deflected incomplete. Well, we talk about playing for Coach Snyder and what that's like. And we ask Al Roberson that question.
When you're down, he'll get you up, and when you're up, I mean, he'll let you know you're up too much. Sometimes, like Nebraska game, my first few passes were skyrockets, high, and told me to calm down a little bit. And I mean, he's just a great guy to have, as your head coach.
And he's about to add something to his resume. A Big 12 championship. Never won one. Lost a heartbreaker in double overtime to Texas A&M. They had one in hand. They would have played for a national championship that year. Let it get away. Different quarterback that night. And here it's Al Roberson going to take them to their first ever BCS Bowl. In all likelihood, they will go to Tempe, but I don't want to get ahead of myself because the fellas tomorrow have it officially at 5:30. But ordinarily, the Big 12 champion is the host team or the home team in Tempe in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. But we will have to wait and see how everything unfolds. But man, did this make it a jump ball for those 4 BCS bowls.
Darren Sproles with 174 yards rushing. Who would have ever thought that he could go against this defense that many yards? Boy, it has been one. Both teams want this thing finished, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Oklahoma wants to go home, lick its wounds.
Yep.
They hope now that all of those writers were correct earlier this week.
False start in the offensive line. 5 yards, fourth down.
Well, now Kansas State should punt. And let's see if they do.
You know, it goes back, though, to something that it's a cliche. Coaches say it all the time, but it's so true. There are no unbeatable teams.
No, it's impossible.
No, not in high school. Although De La Salle, it can be a liar.
I always say that 145th one's the hardest one to win in a row, isn't it? Now, this has to be a real quick punt. Worst thing that could happen is get a block. Okay, I'm trying. It's 35-7, 5 minutes to go. Look at this. Well, I'm surprised Oklahoma's playing safe. And Kansas State didn't care if they got a delay a game penalty right there. No difference to punt from the 35 or the 40.
And the game goes on.
Well, Brent, we've watched a lot of games where coaches get jobs. That's kind of a bad luck thing that happens. A year ago, we did the Washington State game when Mike Price was lame duck. Mark Richt down at Florida State. It's distracting.
It's a distraction.
Absolutely.
When a coach gets hired like that, and there's talk about who he might hire, and he's not focused on the immediate job at hand. Obviously, we think Mike Stoops is going to do a wonderful job down at Arizona, and they made a terrific choice.
False start on the offense. 5 yards, 4th down.
That was Andrew Scholl that time trying to draw Oklahoma off. He's playing a tackle or end position right there, and Oklahoma declines another one. Back-to-back declines. Sooner or later, they got to punt this thing.
You would hope. Jared Bright. He did. And Thompson, having warmed up, although White is also still in a helmet down there. The young man from Tuttle, Oklahoma. This was to be the biggest week of his life. And so many of the Heisman Trophy voters wait until late. The majority of votes are not going to be cast until next week. There's going to be a lot of speculation about what might happen to the Heisman. Eli Manning over at Mississippi. Curtis Perry up there at Michigan came on with a great game against Ohio State. And here comes Thompson. So the backup from Leander, Texas, the sophomore, Paul Thompson, jogs onto the field. Off a play fake, throws to Clayton, and Clayton picks up a first down. You know, what a defensive job by the linebackers. And we asked Ryan Hickman about this K-State defense.
Ball and we hit. I think that's our biggest thing. We like to intimidate, so when we hit, we want to let you know that everyone's coming.
All week they read that they didn't have a chance, and they said not so fast.
Oh, they were adamant that no team was going to beat them by 14 points.
That was their guarantee. I think somebody said, look, we may lose this thing, but they're not going to beat us by any 14 points.
Oh,
Jarred, incomplete, symbolic of the night. Rashad Washington.
I'll tell you, Brent Bielema and Bobby Elliott have put together a package, and they did exactly what you should. Try to take away the first throw for Oklahoma. Oklahoma has not been able to run the ball. They got 42 yards on one play. They got 80 yards in the game. Force them to throw the ball over the middle. Keep your safeties in position to hit every guy that catches it.
Thompson struggles out to the 38-yard line. 35-7. And Oklahoma, remember, scored on its first possession here tonight. They have missed 2 field goals since then. They had another pass intercepted in the end zone. And they're trailing by 28. And you can see our yardage totals here tonight.
Well, look at that. Look at that. Look at that balance. Within 3 yards by Kansas State.
Roberson, making like L. Roberson for the first down.
Kansas State has been coming on. The last 3 games coming into this game, they gained 1,500 plus yards in offense. Tonight they are almost at 500 yards. They've caught fire. Coach Snyder told these guys that it was basically a playoff now. They had to beat Nebraska, Missouri, and Oklahoma. They beat them 1, 2, 3.
Well,
Offside defense, 5 yards, first down.
Jason White tonight finished up with 50 attempts for 298 yards and 2 interceptions, one of which was returned for a touchdown. This would be the first time that Bill Snyder has beaten Bob Stoops since Stoops became the head coach at Oklahoma. Thompson with a beautiful spin move. And finally down at the 35-yard line. Derek Marceau tripping him up off the bench over there for K-State with a nice stop. It is 3-0. And in the last game in Norman back in 2001, the final score was 38-37. Oklahoma, he played him right down the wire. L. Roberson had a great football game in that loss. Roberson passed for 257 yards, rushed for 115. Tonight he passed for 227, but 4 touchdowns. And he also rushed for 61.
This is one of those games where you give the game ball to everyone. It has been special teams. The defense answered the bell. Remember that punt that hit into Travis Wilson early, and they stopped him right there. It has been offense. It has been a complete team effort and a smashing victory for that guy and that staff. He was, by the way, when he was at Iowa, coached by Coach Mike Stoops and was a teammate of Mark Stoops at Iowa when he played there.
3rd and 13. Clayton can't get to it. Well, our BCS standings presented by Allstate. Now, right away, Oklahoma's total goes to 306. Remember, a loss is 1 full point. USC and LSU will have to wait and see how the polls come out. Will the coaches and will the writers leave Oklahoma up 1 or 2? Now, that was the theory by the gurus all week long. I'm no longer so sure, with LSU and USC putting up impressive totals here tonight as the 11th man comes on the field for the punting team for the Sooners. But it is going to be close. And certainly the Sooners still have as good a chance because remember they've all 3 lost 1 game as Sproles makes the fair catch at the 24-yard line. So they will have to be evaluated by the 2 human polls and the computers. The strength of schedule comes into play. And back in 1934, the Big Six, their last conference championship.
Remember, Kansas State, as we talked about before, this is no fluke. This is no surprise. They were picked by the experts, the media, and the writers to win the Big 12 North. I was one of those guys that said they had a shot to win the national championship. I actually picked them to be in the national championship, but I think L. Roberson's injury just derailed them, and they didn't catch it again until they got back after 3 losses.
Here's Sproles. Breaking into the open at the 40. 30. Cuts on Perkins. Down at the 10-yard line. Darren Sproles with 65 more yards. And now he has rushed for 239 here tonight against Oklahoma.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Darren Sproles puts over 200 yards. There's Bobby Elliott, co-defensive coordinator. Came from Iowa. He knows this football game is a success. And now watch it. He popped it. Go for it, Darren. Bobby has been through a lot, Fred. We know that. He was at Iowa. He got sick. He battled cancer. Had to step away from coaching. Has come back with his good friend Bill Snyder back in the football. And talked to him before the game. He said he's feeling great.
Sproles has just put up a Big 12 title game record with 237 yards. Roberson put up a Big 12 title game record with 4 touchdown passes. Those are huge numbers against this Oklahoma defense.
Well, I wonder if the Nebraska coaches think Kansas State's running up the score here against Oklahoma.
Well, they'll come down here and accuse them of running it up. Give me a break. Look back in the record book at some of those scores, please. You don't get me started on that again. Why did you bring that up?
Well, that happened right at the end of the Nebraska-Kansas State game when Bo Pelini, defensive coordinator, charged out on the field to Bill Snyder, and that didn't last too long, and now Kansas State running it up on number 1 Oklahoma.
Second down and 10.
Boy, this guy has gone from coaching genius to coaching legend in one night here.
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
Yes.
And it is the coaching staff. You know, Gary, I kept making the point that I thought the coaches were more together when we saw them later in the year. And it takes a while for a staff. And we could have chosen so many players from K-State, but we're going to go with the leader, El Roberson. He has done it all. He's shown such maturity in this game, 4 touchdown passes. And Teddy Lehman, he's played his heart out here in this loss, as he normally does. 4 of his 8 tackles at a loss. And in recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet makes a $1,000 contribution to each University General Scholarship Fund. We send you to New York and John Saunders.
And for a reminder, join us tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern Time for the Tostitos Bowl selection show. In past years, it's been a foregone conclusion. Guess what? Nobody knows this year coming in.
It is no layup this year at all. And I tell you what a scenario is out there that could happen very well would be LSU going to number 2 with USC at number 1. Okay, number 3 Oklahoma, but USC get left out of the whole picture, the BCS being at number 3. This thing is really messed up, and it's going to be interesting tomorrow.
Didn't think Oklahoma could get that slow, but they didn't think they could beat this bad either.
That's tomorrow at 5:30. Brant, back to you.
Yeah, John, you guys make the big point, and Terry said it, and I think it's going across America tonight. No one expected Oklahoma to lose like this, 35-7, and Bill Snyder, just moments ago, got the traditional bath. His first Big 12 championship. You only want to do that on a very special night with Coach Snyder.
And you better be a senior.
Isn't that the truth? Well, listen, congratulations to him. We have marveled at the turnaround. We suffered, along with everybody else, at that heartbreaking loss. We've marveled at what Bob Stoops has done down at Oklahoma. A great job and the great fans that they have down there, and we'll just have to see how everything plays out. Perhaps there were too many stories written about, are they the greatest team of all time? Perhaps everybody should have just taken a deep breath. Bob Stoops tried to tell everybody, I don't want to say we're better than the championship team because we haven't won it yet. We have a chance to be, and clearly they did not answer the bell in this one here tonight. But congratulations go out to Kansas State. The seconds tick away. Bill Snyder has won his first Big 12 championship, and there he is going across the field now for the congratulatory handshake with one of his former coaches, Bob Stoops. Stoops, of course, congratulating him, and Snyder, they're long-time old friends. And, you know, the rivalry developed. And Bobby raided the coaching staff, and some warm moments there. A couple of very class guys. Let's go down to Jackaroo.
Well, Coach, getting the congratulations from Brent Venables. Coach, I would have to think the understatement of the day would be this is your biggest win.
Is that your statement or mine?
Mine.
Okay. That's fine.
What was the turning point? What was the key tonight, Coach?
I just kept playing. You know, it was, you know, I don't know that, you know, Jesus, man, it's going to be all right. We'll be okay. Okay? Relax. I think it was just that our players kept playing. You know, nobody got too high. I mean, there was a lot of excitement, but they kept playing, and that's what you have to do. You got to play 4 quarters against a team like this.
What about the performance of Darren Sproles and your quarterback, El Roberson, and your defense, too, for that matter?
Well, I'll tell you, if you've got do you have a vote for the Heisman? All right, who would you vote for?
Tell me, Jack, who would you vote for?
I'm going to have to make that decision this week, Coach.
Well, if you do, don't forget Darren Sproles, who is probably the leading all-purpose rusher in the country, and you see why. And if Heisman people saw him, they would understand what I'm talking about.
And I do. Congratulations,
Thank you,
Coach.
Jack. Thank you.
Bill Snyder. He's one of a kind. He's not beloved by the media, and you can see why. But he is one heck of a football coach, and now Jack is with L. Roberson.
My friend, congratulations. Big win. Tell me how you guys accomplished it. What was it like back in Manhattan all week when you prepared for this game?
Man, we just knew that we had a chance. Everybody doubted us. They didn't think we could do it, and that just motivated us. We came off a rough year in the middle of the year, and we just wanted to come out and just finish up strong, and my team rallied behind me, and we got it done.
Let's talk for a moment about what the coaches told you before you came out here. What were their last words to you, El?
They would just go give it your all, no matter what. Give it your all. Everybody don't expect us to win, so go out there and play your best, and that's what we did.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Coach Dale Miller. This was for you and your son, Cancer. We love y'all. Keep it up. Keep the fight.
Grant.
A wonderful thought from L. Roberson. As Kansas State shocks the world 35-7. 35 points and 519 yards of offense for the Big 12 champion Kansas State Wildcats. They do it 35-7 over Oklahoma. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Search ABC Sports. Don't forget the Tostitos BCS Selection Show live tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern. Kansas State has done it. They've earned a spot in their first ever BCS Bowl.
Champion. Are you kidding me? Best final round ever.
That is picture perfect.